Connor, it's a cold world out here, buddy.
Very cold.
A cold word at world. I put an M right on your head, you Luigi brother. Now.
Shit, that came out.
Yeah, it did.
I forgot you had mentioned that somewhere on Twitter, and I was afraid that you were going to bring it up.
The real is back, the Vil is back.
Do people like it?
Flow bananas, here, peel this back. That's an old song. People love it. People love it more than I do. I think it's fine. Mm-hmm. I think it's more than fine. I think it's really good.
But people think it's amazing.
Yeah, people are like, oh my god, it's amazing. I'm like, let's relax. Like, this is clearly, like, not, like, his, like, magnum opus album.
Is it just more J. Cole?
It's J. Cole in, like a new mode. He's hungry. Which is weird, because he's 5+ albums deep, 5-ish albums deep now, so, like, you would think, and he's platinum albums for most of those. Mm-hmm. So you would think probably would get relaxed, but he put out a documentary in which he even talks about, like, yo, like, at this point in my career, I could be relaxed, and I could be like, yeah, let me just put out another one or whatever, but...
Do it all for the money.
That's not good. That's not good enough for me. So on this one, he's, like, playing with some different sounds, he's trying some different flows. His writing, I think, is better than it's ever been in terms of, like, actual rapping, like, punchlines and the bars that hit hard. Really, really good. I don't think any song is, like, phenomenal, but there's not a single, like, I don't like this song on the album.
Well-rounded album.
Well-rounded, you know. I could use more conscious stuff from J. Cole. He's doing a lot of rapping on this one. A lot of, like, rapping, like, showboating on this one, which is different for him, but I like it still. And it's real loud. It's a real loud album.
Yeah.
Which I'm cool with, too. But, you know, it's not like, oh my god, but it's cool. I like it. Huh. I'll be listening to it for the next few weeks, probably.
A good thing to listen to while you were playing Mass Effect, potentially?
Not at all. Not at all.
I never listen to music when I play video games, but I know people do. So I'm always, I never knew.
I would prefer a podcast to music.
Okay.
I would prefer a good podcast game to some music. Returnal is a great podcast game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, great.
Just going in
you just throw it on there, yeah. Anyways, Connor, let's go ahead and drop some sense on him, yeah?
Mm-hmm. I think it's time.
All right. What's poppin', players? Welcome back to the Two Penny Gamescast. I'm your host, Tavin Bothel, here with my good friend and co-host, Connor Elliott. Say hello to the people, Connor.
Hey, yo.
Ladies and gentlemen, we come to you every week, Monday at 8 a.m. Central Time, YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, you know, all them big ones. We're out there, man. Come give us a follow, give us a like, comment, share, all of the goods. Get that interaction up. Yeah. And what we do, ladies and gentlemen, is we give you the new news that you need to know about the video game industry. Every week, me and Connor come to you with 2 topics, 2 pennies, if you will, and we give you our 2 cents on them. This week, Connor, we got, it's a different week than usual.
I wonder why you decided it would be a different week. Maybe it's because something happened recently that you've been excited about, anticipated
it's been a good week, let me tell you what. Mm-hmm. Now, ladies and gentlemen, usually we bring you 4 topics that are specific news topics about the industry and yada, 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 yada. And that is still true for most of the show today. However, our final topic today, instead of what we talk about for what we've been playing, we're going to do a review for the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. In which we will talk about all the changes, things we like, don't like. We've been playing it. I've been playing the fuck out of it. Connor has also been playing it. Not quite as much.
No, definitely not as much. Now, neither of us have got it started on Mass Effect 2 yet. Our experience has been limited to Mass Effect 2.
I'm an hour deep into Mass Effect 2.
I forgot you started that.
I'm an hour and a half deep into Mass Effect 2. So,
not much to say about that yet.
Not much to say about that, but all the big changes are for Mass Effect 1. We're going to reiterate all this when we get into the review. Good. It's important to note. The review will be broken out into a separate video and uploaded on the night of recording for clickbait reasons.
It is the big new game that came out recently.
Yeah, I suppose. And it's probably what we're going to start doing for reviews on this channel anyway. It'll still be part of the overall podcast. More than likely, will still be part of the What We've Been Playing segment. But because this is one of the bigger, quote-unquote, releases, one of the quote-unquote bigger releases this year, I decided, and I know I'm going to talk about it for a long time, I decided to save everybody some time and not have a 4-hour podcast. Especially because we're doing an After the Hype review for Super Mario Sunshine this week, Connor. Connor, did you know that we play games on Twitch?
I did know that.
We do that.
I was there for a part of one of it.
Yeah, we do that every week, Tuesday, 1 p.m. Central Time for Hype Have You Ever Played, where me and Phil sit down and show each other a new game that we've been playing. We just finished up Super Mario Sunshine, therefore you will be getting a review episode of After the Hype for that game. This week, we're starting the first Mass Effect, the Legendary Edition, of course. It'll be Phil's first time playing it. I'll be very excited. I've been streaming Mass Effect all weekend. You can see a majority of my Mass Effect playthrough, Mass Effect 1 playthrough on there, on the VODs, still up there. Been having a good old time over there. And then I will continue Mass Effect 2 as well for the next few days. But Mass Effect 1, Tuesday, Hype. Very excited about that. But let's go ahead and get into episode 43 of the 2 Penny Gamescast. Starting with our first topic today, the first penny that I'm assigning is your penny, Connor. Don't know if you know that. You probably didn't. It's yours, though. You didn't.
I didn't.
No, not this week.
I was not paying attention as much about the new news in the gaming news world.
That's fine. This week, Ubisoft says it's changing strategy to focus on more high-end, free-to-play games. We're pulling from Video Games Chronicle by Tom Ivan. Ubisoft is shifting away from its traditional strategy of releasing 3 to 4 premium AAA titles each year, but plans to launch, quote, high-end free-to-play title games for all of its biggest franchises. The company provided an update on its game development strategy during its full-year earnings call on Tuesday, when it said it intends to be less reliant on AAA releases as part of its overall product mix, quote, in line with the evolution of our high-quality lineup that is increasingly diverse. We are moving on from our prior commitment regarding releasing 3 to 4 premium AAAs per year, said Ubisoft Chief Financial Officer Frederick Duguet. I don't know.
He's French, I bet.
Quote, it is indeed no longer a proper indication of our value creation dynamics. For example, our expectation for Just Dance and Riders Republic are consistent with some of the industry's AAA performers. Additionally, we are building high-end, free-to-play games to be trending toward AAA ambitions over the long term. This is purely a financial communication evolution and doesn't change the fact that we continue to expect a high cadence of content delivery, including powerful, premium, and free-to-play new releases. Posting on Twitter, one of Ubisoft's senior analysts claimed the company's comments were in reference to quote, free-to-play becoming a larger share of the revenue pie, not an indication that there will be less traditional paid games like Assassin's Creed. They wrote, quote, the content mix is expanding, not changing. A good comp is the, comp meaning comparison, I assume, is the evolution of Call of Duty since Warzone. I mostly wanted to steer the convo away from free-to-play games or replacing AAA paid games. 2, free-to-play is going to be an additional way to experience some of these IPs. Last week, the Ubisoft announced plans to expand The Division with new free-to-play and mobile games. Tom Clancy's The Division Heartland is being led by Red Storm Entertainment and is described as a standalone experience set for release on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. No details were revealed on the separate mobile game. Quote, in terms of Heartland, the way we think about building the audience reach growth for our biggest franchises. So, starting with The Division, it is to come with high-quality, free-to-play games, Duguet said on Tuesday's earning call. We recognize this is the first year we are coming meaningfully into the space. That's why we need to take reasonable assumptions for year one on the top line as well as on the contribution. But, of course, we want to make sure this is a strong contributor in the long term to the expansion of the overall brand on console and PC, and then, of course, will come mobile at a later time. Duguet elaborated on the new direction, quote, we think that we have a great opportunity to meaningfully expand the audiences of our biggest franchises. We have taken the time to learn from what we did last year with Hyperscape. We are also learning, of course, with the launch we'll be making of Roller Champions, and we've been learning a lot with Brawlhalla, which is growing fast. And we think it is now the time to come with the high-quality free-to-play games across all of our biggest franchises across all platforms. But of course, it'll take time proving it in a way or in a more assertive way. That's why we want to be cautious in year one. If we are successful, then we can have a very meaningful impact on the value creation of Ubisoft. The publisher said on Tuesday that the current fiscal year ending on March 31st, 2022 will include the releases of Far Cry 6 and Rainbow Six Quarantine by September 30th, plus Riders Republic, The Division Heartland, and Roller Champions. And it confirmed during the earnings call that it has no AAA games scheduled for release during the second half of the fiscal year, which includes the Christmas season. Open world pirate game Skull and Bones was planned for release during the current fiscal year, but Ubisoft said on Tuesday that it has been delayed yet again. The game is now scheduled for release during its next fiscal year, beginning in April 2022. Ubisoft also said that Assassin's Creed franchise recorded its strongest sales year to date in the company's last fiscal year. Quote, "What we see with Assassin's Creed is that we have a fantastic recipe, and that's why we decided to expand the post-launch program to make it the biggest, longest, strongest that we have ever had on the franchise." Connor, how do we feel about Ubisoft expanding into the free-to-play market? Go ahead while I take some sips of water.
You did talk for a while, but as far as expanding goes, I had initially thought that what this was they were transitioning over to that model of how they would make games, but
I thought so as well. It's worth noting that there was an update to the story where they specifically say Ubisoft has told VGC its free-to-play plan does not mean it will require less premium games. So we're getting the same. We're just getting more for free.
Which, there's two ways to look at this. The first is from a consumer standpoint, which is, as long as the games are quality, it doesn't, just good, because they're free. You probably would have to do microtransactions if you want skins and all those customizable stuff. If other free-to-play games are anything to go off of.
Assuming they're doing things the quote-unquote correct way.
The correct way, yes. They could shake up the entire meaning of what it is to have a free-to-play game. They're probably not, but they could. They have that opportunity. I can't really see any negatives on that side. I haven't really played a lot of Ubisoft games in recent years. I didn't play Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I did try the Hyperscape beta when it came out. The Hyperscape game when it came out, actually. And I didn't like it at all. I didn't play Watch Dogs 3. I know that kind of underperformed in the public eye. I remember it came and went, despite being this, big game. That was
even as a fan of Watch Dogs 2, Legion didn't do enough to pull me in.
Yeah, exactly. So, it could be good. That it really just determines. It really matters on what the quality of the games are going to be like. So we won't know what that is like until we see it. The other side of it is, are the workers of these companies, of these studios, going to have to work a lot harder? Because, someone like Respawn Entertainment, the people who make Apex Legends, they're famous for not overworking their workers, despite them constantly coming out with new material. But
they faced a lot of criticism when Apex first launched because it took a long time for some new content to drop.
Now, I don't know if the standard for free-to-play games is those people work a lot. I feel like it is.
The word was for the many months after Fortnite went Battle Royale that those guys were working real hard.
Yeah, my indication from what if it is like that at all was Warzone. And we've heard recent stories of a bunch of studios owned by Activision are now being delegated to working on Call of Duty Warzone and things like that. So if Ubisoft takes a similar route like that, where studios that they may have are now delegated to these free-to-play games, which may be monotonous or require a lot of overworking to push out as much content to keep players invested, that would be a pretty bad thing. And, game studios already don't have a good reputation for working their employees in a proper manner. So on that front, this could be a pretty negative thing, as far as that's concerned.
Perhaps, yeah, that's a good point. Crunch, definitely a problem within this industry, and games as service games, or games that never really have any end, especially, can very quickly fall under just an endless crunch cycle. I am pretty much where you are with this, where, okay, let's see what you put out. As long as the games are quality games, I have no issue with this, and as long as it doesn't impede on the games that we're already getting, again, I have no issue with this. I can see a future where this model does so well for them, it becomes their main strategy. That'll be years from now, though. We're looking 5+ years from now.
They would really have to start seeing a return on their free-to-play games to decide whether they want to continue with that model. Especially
with the way that Assassin's Creed sells, Just Dance sells.
They're already making money that way. They weren't strapping for cash.
Exactly. I think how well Far Cry 6 does will determine how that conversation progresses. It's interesting that they're pushing Riders Republic so hard. Cool, but I didn't think of that game as one of your premium titles.
Neither did I. People seem to be excited for it, though. A small community.
But I could see Rainbow Six Quarantine being released as a free-to-play game, especially with how Siege has developed over the last few years.
Most of the money they get already doesn't come from people buying the base game, since a lot of the players just have it already.
Yep.
And they go on sale all the time, too.
The free-to-play weekends all the time, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, in terms of the Division Heartland, neat. Roller Champions, that was another free-to-play one, right? I think so.
Yes. I don't remember it.
And the launch will be making of Learning. Okay, so yeah, Roller Champions is another free-to-play one. So they've dabbled with the free-to-play market before with Hyperscape and with Brawlhalla. They're going to continue with this Division Heartland and Roller. What is it called? Roller Champions. Ugh, that's a name. And then I see a future where Rainbow Six Quarantine is a free-to-play game. I'm going to go ahead and put money down now. Skull and Bones is going to be free-to-play.
If it comes out.
Yeah.
That's the prime concern they probably have before deciding if they want to make that a free-to-play game.
Yep.
Definitely seems... Is that a...
Granted, Skull and Bones has had a long development time. It's been in the oven for a long, long time. So they may want a more immediate return on all of that investment.
That's actually very probable.
I thought Skull and Bones came out.
No.
I forgot it hasn't come out yet.
It looks really cool, but then just haven't seen anything in a while.
Man, what is that game? Where is that game?
Pirate game.
They're like, you played Black Flag? That was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we played it 6 years ago, bro. Where's your game?
And we have more ship-focused stuff, like Sea of Thieves.
God, yeah. So yeah, we're still gonna get our classic Assassin's Creed. We're probably gonna get some more Assassin's Creed spin-off titles for free-to-play, I imagine.
Yeah, fans of established Ubisoft titles like Far Cry and Assassin's Creed don't have any room to complain at all.
They're nothing to worry about. Just Dance still sells, with grandmas everywhere. For some reason. So yeah, I'm not too worried. More fascinated than anything, and I hope. I honestly just hope at the end of the day it just comes with some great games.
Yeah, that's what we can get out of it.
That's the best we can get out of it. That's all we want. So, Connor, moving on to your second penny of the day. I chose this to be your second penny because it is a struggle to you personally right now.
Yes. Sony
warns tight PlayStation 5 supply to extend into next year. We're pulling an article from Bloomberg by Takashi Mochizuki. Excuse me. Sony Group Corp warned a group of analysts the PlayStation 5 will remain in short supply through 2022, suggesting the company will be constrained in its ability to boost sales targets for its latest games console. While reporting financial results in late April, the Japanese conglomerate said that it has sold 7.8 million units of the console through March 31st, and it is aiming to sell at least 14.8 million units in the current fiscal year. That would keep it on pace to match the trajectory of the popular PlayStation 4, which has sold in excess of 115.9 million units to date. In a briefing after those results, Sony... I'm gonna take a pause real quick. It's not on pace to match the trajectory. The PlayStation 5 is the biggest console launch of all time. Period.
So it's going. It's
inevitability. It's selling. It's overselling.
Yeah. But as far as the company's concerned, they don't want to make... we are going to make our... we are going to have more consoles sold than the PS4. They don't want to just come out and say that without...
Right. Well, they also don't want to be like, hey... They also want to... They're letting us know, hey, it's going to be a while before it's ready. Anyways. Yeah. In a debriefing after those results, Sony told analysts it is challenging to keep up with the strong demand. The PS5 has been difficult to find in stock since its release in November, in part because of shortages in components such as semiconductors. And the company hasn't given an official estimate for when it expects supply to normalize. Quote, I don't think demand is calming down this year, and even if we secure a lot more devices and produce many more units of the PlayStation 5 next year, our supply wouldn't be able to catch up with demand, Chief Financial Officer Hiroki Totoki said at the briefing, according to several people who attended and asked not to be named as it wasn't public. Sony said it would buy back up to 200 billion yen, $1.8 billion, of its own shares after reporting profit for the March quarter that fell short of analyst estimates. It forecast that operating profit would slide about 4% in the current fiscal year, but analysts have been weighing whether the company could exceed the conservative outlook with the help of strong demand for the new console and games. Shares have dropped about 8% since the earnings report on April 28th, after rising 75% over the previous year. Totoki told analysts that Sony needs to ramp up production as soon as possible and make sure there are consoles on store shelves. Demand will remain high regardless of the COVID-19 situation. The CFO assured an analyst wary about Sony's ability to fully capitalize on the stay-at-home entertainment surge triggered by lockdowns and emergency orders. Quote, "We have sold more than 100 million units of the PlayStation 4, and considering our market share and reputation, I can't imagine demand dropping easily," he said. Still, the company's latest earnings report suggests that stay-at-home demand is leveling off. Sony said monthly active users on PlayStation Network fell to 109 million at the end of the January-March period from the 114 million a quarter earlier, and sales of full games also declined in the period from a year earlier. Rival Nintendo company warned last week that component shortages could affect production. It's official targeting sales of 25.5 million consoles in the year ending March 2020, down slightly from the previous year, but internally, Nintendo's management is said to be shooting for production of between 28 and 29 million consoles. Bloomberg News has reported. Connor, you are currently on the hunt for the PlayStation 5.
Yeah, it took a while for me to actually just decide that I was going to start doing that, but now that I have actually, followed the Twitter accounts, created accounts on all these different sites where I can possibly buy a PS5, it is very difficult. And
welcome to the struggle, my friend.
Yes, you've already passed that point.
Yes.
Here I am in it now.
You should have jumped in earlier.
Yeah, I should.
Now you're missing out on all these great games because you don't have a PS5.
Well, I'm missing out on. I potentially might miss out on that Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, which is what I'm hoping to get in time by.
Guess who won't? This guy.
Ha! Anyway, there's a shortage. I don't know what else I could say about that. I mean,
yeah, things are tight.
Yeah.
The shortage of semiconductors, is really putting a hamper. It's not just on game devices, but, laptops, phones, everything.
Yeah.
Technology as a whole is just having trouble keeping up with demand of all of the good goods.
Mm-hmm. A lot of the sites that I have, the Twitter accounts that I follow to make sure I get all those PS5 stock updates, also do a lot of stuff for things like CPUs and computer parts, because that's also struggling to get their stuff out, not just PlayStation. I wouldn't lie if I said I was surprised by this, because I didn't see it. I figured by the end of the year things would have already wrapped up, and everyone who wanted it would have gotten it, and now you could just go in and buy them on the shelves.
Well, you would assume, usually with console launches, that big push of, oh my god, I gotta get one, ends after the first 3 to 6 months.
Yes.
And then you can just go and get one.
Which is what I was thinking was going to happen again.
But we were seeing an unprecedented level of difficulty getting some, and it doesn't look like it's going to end anytime soon.
No.
Which is unfortunate.
So for all those people that were doing what I was going to do, which is just wait till that dies down so I don't have to try as hard.
It's a long wait.
You might as well just... It's not difficult. Just follow the Twitter accounts. Look it up. Type in PS5 restocks.
It can be quite difficult
to find the places.
Yeah, well, not to find them, but to the struggle as a whole is difficult.
Oh no, the struggle as a whole is difficult. But just start off by following those Twitter accounts. They'll get you the information right when it happens.
Yep.
It's the best chance I got.
Got to put your alerts on. Got to stay on it. Got to have your cards saved on the phone, saved on the computer, saved at websites, addresses, all of these things. Keep logged into all your things. I heard a lot of people were finding success through Walmart. I never did, but through Walmart, if you try through the Walmart app and you've got your own account or whatever and everything's saved, if you try through the Walmart app, it allows you to say hey, add this to a list or whatever. And then from that list, it's a lot easier to just quickly add to cart when stock becomes available again. I heard that was a thing. I tried it, never found success with it. I found my success through the PS5 direct thing that Sony does.
Yeah.
Where they put you in a random queue.
I ever got to it as well. So, because they do a random queue where you can come in right when that news comes out of, hey, they're starting the queue for who should get the PS5s. You
get a 10, 15-minute heads up or whatever.
Yeah. But even despite that, because I did it right away, it didn't change me at all. like my position at all. So
Yep.
it really is just random.
Yep.
In those situations, I didn't do it as effectively as I could have, but try to have as many different devices open, and whichever one first gets you to that front of the queue. And
I think Sony is trying to fight that by...
They are?
Yeah, they've got a thing of where... It used to be per device, and now it says, like, per household. So I assume they're tracking your IP address. And if there's multiple signals coming from the same IP address, they shut you down.
Ah, I see. So stay on that data for your phone, and hopefully you have, like, a laptop or a PC at your place.
Yeah, something like that. So, yeah. Interesting, I guess, but also predictable that they talk about how the stay-at-home... demand is starting to level out, which probably expected as things begin to open up. Vaccines are coming out and people are, CDC is allowing people to take off masks, I guess.
Yeah.
So, all interesting, all predictable, all to be expected, and I'm sure all of these companies expected all of that fall off to happen as well. Moving on to my first penny of the day. More PlayStation news. Now, we are pulling an article from Wired by Peter Rubin. The PlayStation 5 is starting to look like the revolution it promised. However, we are skipping like more than the first half of the article because mostly it goes over everything we've already said before in the last one, just with a more positive outlook on the PlayStation. And we're skipping straight down to about halfway, 3/4 through where we start at now 6 months. So now 6 months after launch, a new phase of PS5 games has begun. Titles that are leveraging the console's capabilities to push forward. First was Returnal, a console exclusive from Housemarque, the same studio that created PS4 standout Resogun. The creepy roguelike shooter received raves for its immersive narrative techniques and atmospheric gameplay that tapped into the PS5's 3D audio and haptics like nothing before it. When players ran through an overgrown biome of a hostile alien planet, the raindrops somehow feel like they're coming through the controller itself. Aiming your weapon and attacking a creature is a two-part process. Your trigger stops halfway to use the usual sidearm, and depressing it more unlocks the weapon's secondary function. Astro's Playroom, a cute platformer from first-party Japan studios that came pre-installed on the PS5, shows off the DualSense haptics as well, but it functions as a tech demo as much as a game. I'll also say, Returnal is still currently my game of the year. Love Returnal. If you have a PS5, you need to play Returnal. It's a must play. Such a great game. Mm-hmm. Housemarque isn't even a first-party developer. What's coming from the collection of companies under the PlayStation Studios umbrella bears out the breadth and depth of the pipeline. In June, Insomniac will follow Miles Morales with Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. Super excited. The newest installment in its long-running platform shooter franchise. The SSD's impact is on full display there, allowing players to walk through dimensional portals and emerge nearly instantly into an entirely other level. Later this year, Guerrilla Games will release Horizon Forbidden West, a sequel to its massive 2017 hit, Horizon Zero Dawn. Wow, Forbidden West will be available on the PS4 as well. Guerrilla Studio director Angie Smets credits the DualSense haptics capabilities with allowing special sauce well beyond fast travel and graphical fidelity. Quote, if you want to take a stealth approach to a combat situation and you dive into long grass, she says, you can feel those long grass leaves. That's an interesting little thing. I wonder how we're going to feel about that. Rest in peace, your DualSense battery. According to Herman Holst, a Guerrilla co-founder whom Jim Ryan tapped to lead PlayStation Studios in 2019, the group has more than 25 titles in development for the PS5, nearly half of which are entirely new IP. Quote, there's an incredible amount of variety originating from different regions, Holst says. Quote, big, small, different genres. And in many of those cases, Sony's shared services become a lifeline for studios navigating lockdown. Having moved all its employees home in early 2020, Guerrilla Games found itself staring down the barrel of a game that hadn't even finished its voice and performance capture, let alone playtesting. For the audio, Guerrilla shipped recording booths to the voice actors' homes. Performance capture was tougher since it couldn't use its usual facilities in California. But last summer, the studio moved into a new Amsterdam space they designed to have a motion capture stage. That, plus some very careful hygiene, allowed them to get what they needed, and the playtesting, well, it's a good thing Sony had invested in cloud gaming for its streaming service PlayStation Now. Quote, seeing that first playtest using PlayStation was a huge relief, says Smets. Knowing that, okay, great, we can continue. Indies are getting in on the fun too. Haven Studios, a new venture from industry veteran Jade Raymond, has partnered with Sony for its new game, as has Firewalk Studios for an unannounced multiplayer title. Ember Lab, an animation and digital studio, is releasing its first major game, the Zelda-esque Kena Bridge of Spirits, in August. While the game began its life as a PS4 title, Sony encouraged co-founders Josh and Mike Greer to make it available on both. Now, that's more than enough for what we need to talk about for this article. The important bit here was we've got 25 titles in development, half of which new IP. Mm-hmm. Very exciting. I remember a time when new IP was like a not so like common thing. We didn't see a lot of new IPs going on. It was a lot of Uncharted. It was a lot of Last of Us. Yeah. Well, Last of Us was new at the time. It was a lot of Uncharted, Call of Duties, Killzones, all the usual stuff. Halos.
Infamous.
Gears of War. All of these things. We were just sequels on sequels on sequels on sequels. We saw the return of the new IP about halfway into the last console cycle, and it's nice to see that trend continuing. Some of the biggest and best games of the last decade were new IPs. The Last of Us, Horizon Zero Dawn. I always really enjoyed Detroit Become Human. I understand people have problems with that game, though. Understandably so.
Bloodborne.
Great example, Connor. Bloodborne. And the list just continues wide from there. It's exciting to see PlayStation say, hey, we are diving deep into new IP. But we are still continuing with games you know and love. Returnal, great new IP. Love it so much. But we're continuing with, Last of Us got a sequel, obviously. I'm sure Uncharted is being kicked around somewhere.
Mm-hmm. At least you're hoping.
No, I'm cool. Either way.
Being over.
I can take Uncharted.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it.
I'm the same way.
I'm cool. I'll take more if you want. If you want to give me more, I'll take more. But if not, that's fine. But and then we're getting the return of Horizon and the revitalization of God of War. So it's all real new, real exciting. Sony is saying, hey, as big of chances that we are willing to take on this big AAA Hollywood blockbuster level, we're going to take some chances. I enjoy that. Of course, I'm still excited to see what Haven Studios is working on. I'm excited to see what Firewalker is doing with that multiplayer game. I want to know what all these things are.
Yep, and I guess we'll find out in due time then.
In due time. But it's good to know a bunch of new things are coming, and a bunch of new ideas are coming as well. Always really exciting. Connor, let's go ahead and jump into our Mass Effect review.
The part you've probably been waiting for.
The part I have absolutely been waiting for, with bated breath all weekend long. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stop this recording right here, segment it off, and start a new one for breakout purposes. But do I need to say anything in this part that matters? I don't think so.
No, I can't think of anything either.
Let me stop it. Connor, we've been playing Mass Effect Legendary Edition, haven't we?
We have. You more than me.
Me more than you. So, let me go ahead and start with where I am at. I beat Mass Effect 1, platinumed it, took about somewhere between 18 to 20 hours. I forget what my actual game clock read as, but it's also 45 minutes off because I left it running for a little bit. So 19-ish hours to platinum and beat, and then I'm about an hour and a half into Mass Effect 2. Connor, where are you at? How much have you played? What have you been playing? I've been playing on PS5, but obviously there's not a PS5 version of the game, so it's being boosted up 60 FPS to I forget 4K or something. But I don't think my TV is. My TV is 4K.
TV's definitely 4K.
Yeah.
I don't actually think did they do that for 4K? I thought that was only something that PS5 games had.
I can't remember. No, okay. It's like an up-res 4K. It's not real 4K.
Okay. I can see that being the case.
But I imagine we are getting a PS5 version of the game eventually.
Yeah.
So
they got
can't wait to replay it all when that happens.
They got a lot of games to do that too. Mm-hmm. So they'll probably be on that shopping block at some point.
Also, I've been playing live on twitch.tv/2pennygames. You can see most of my playthrough up right there. And it's real fun, real exciting. Connor, How much have you played so far?
I'm not going to bother trying to hide anything because it's a game that came out back in 2007.
Yeah.
But I got to I have all my party members, so I got Liara.
Okay.
And as far as other main missions that I was doing...
You are, 4-ish hours in? 4 or 5,
No,
maybe?
more like 10, because I did a lot of side quests.
Are you serious?
I did a lot of side quests. Because I had done the main game before.
Yes.
So I missed out on a lot of the side quest stuff back when I played it, somewhere in like 2010.
I'll say now, I want to keep this relatively spoiler-free for people who haven't played Mass Effect before, because there's a lot of newcomers, especially for the first game. There's a lot of people who are fans of Mass Effect, but never played the first Mass Effect.
Which is weird to me.
It's very weird to me too, but I understand why. There was a lot of stipulations that came with this first Mass Effect game.
Yeah.
Big choices, big quote-unquote deaths and things that happen, stay far away from those. But some of the smaller stuff, names,
locations.
Certain locations and certain missions,
yeah,
we could probably get away with that fine.
As far as cast members, it literally, before you get all of them, shows in an outline which characters you have left to get. So that's probably not really much of a spoiler as far as BioWare
Also,
is
you
concerned.
get most of your cast in the first 2 hours.
Oh, I got them very, very quickly.
Oh, yeah. Well, the game is intended for you to have your party real quick.
Yeah. But I got Liara. I ended up going to... I always forgot the name. The ice planet.
Novaria.
Novaria. That's how you pronounce it. And I was getting ready to get into the action-packed part of that mission.
Fantastic. That does start slower. Yeah.
Yes.
So, I am a big fan of Mass Effect trilogy. I play the trilogy, if not yearly, at least every other year. I platinumed the original 3 games, which is a way bigger undertaking than what platinuming each individual game in this collection is. Specifically Mass Effect 1, you had to play a minimum of 3 times. I think it took me like 4.5. And I did that within the last year. Or I finished my platinum journey within the last year. It took several years for me to do that. Because I would pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down. I would finish a playthrough, stop for a year, come back the next year, etc., etc. So I'm a huge fan. I know this franchise inside and out. And I was very, very excited for this Legendary Edition to come out. I was very excited to see the changes that they made, and that's where I want most of the conversation to be. Now, I've spent damn near the majority of my time in Mass Effect 1 because they were very upfront in saying, hey, Mass Effect 1 got the biggest amount of changes. As you get further into this franchise, changes become less and less.
Yes.
I assume Mass Effect 3 is mostly just a bit of an up-res and then some bug fixing. Mass Effect 2 is, so far, it is prettier. There's more detail, but severely less changes from the original to this version in Mass Effect 2.
Now, I just have to say, because I hadn't played it in so long, obviously when you don't play a game for a long time, you kind of get warped on how good or bad the game looked when you first played it.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, it looks...
Now, for context, you haven't played Mass Effect since they came out.
No, I have not. 2010 was when I first played Mass Effect 1, shortly before Mass Effect 2 came out.
Yeah.
If I'm getting my years right. But, from my memory, it looks about as good... obviously, with the graphical improvements of the PlayStation 4 as opposed to the Xbox 360, where I originally played the Mass Effect games, it looks more similar to Mass Effect 3 in terms of, how good characters look, how
what they've done with the first game.
Yes, what they've done with the first game, which is where my experience ends. I haven't even gotten through the entire game like you have yet.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind.
So I'm with you. They were upfront in saying Mass Effect 3 was the bar.
Yeah.
So we were trying to get everything up. Now, Mass Effect 1 does not look like Mass Effect 2 or even 3. 2 and 3 look much better than 1. But 1 has seen an incredible visual upgrade. Texture, pretty much all the textures have been reworked. There are new physics effects, specifically like grass and wind blowing through grass and stuff. There wasn't even grass in the original game.
Yeah.
New lighting effects, which I think is the biggest proponent of things looking so nice now.
Yes, that is a big part of it.
Oh my god, the lighting is so nice.
Wasn't that good in the first game? From my memory
very
as well?
flat, flat in the first game. Everything looked very flat.
Dynamic lighting was not a thing back then.
Yeah, so all of these new things have helped the presentation of the game severely, or incredibly, I should say. There's also been some gameplay changes. They've tightened up the shooting. They've made it feel a lot closer to 2 and 3, which I was surprised how much closer it actually feels while playing it, I was like, okay, yeah, this is clearly tighter than the original game, but it's nowhere near as tight as 2. Now that I'm playing 2, I'm like, oh, it's actually closer than I thought. There's still, a large step difference.
Yeah. I mean, there's a whole cover system. There's more of a focus on cover systems in 2, from my memory, than 1.
There is. Absolutely there is. But yeah, it's now the games are closer together mechanically than they've ever been before. The Mako got a huge makeover, if you will, which they've improved the driving mechanics. It feels like they've mostly just increased the gravity on the Mako to make it less bouncy. It's still got some tumbliness to it. It's still not perfect, but it's a lot better. They've also changed camera positioning both on Shepard and in the Mako. They tweaked the Mako's gun a lot.
They did. It was way easier to get shots off in this one.
In this one,
I remember
absolutely.
there were certain parts I struggled with that, which was the worst. I never hated the Mako. Some people hated the Mako. Or
I'm a Mako apologist.
Yeah,
I like
am
the
as
Mako.
well. So did I overall, but the shooting definitely needed some work back in the day.
It would help if your big heavy cannon hit the shot that you wanted it to hit.
Yes.
Which now there's they've almost overcorrected where there's a bit of what is it called? Not aim assist, but when you shoot the bullet and the bullet goes into the enemy anyway, even if your marker is off.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about? That bullet magnetism type stuff?
Bullet mapping, I guess.
Magnetism.
That's
not mapping. Mapping doesn't make any sense,
once you fire the gun, the bullet is on its trajectory. It's not going to change even if you move your gun more.
No, but it moves. I've been off target and it still hit.
Oh, really?
Yes. That's what I'm saying. It's got that bullet magnetism that Halo was popular for.
Oh, okay. My tactic is I usually just stay in one place because I just move slightly to avoid whatever missiles are coming at me.
They've made the Mako tougher. Except for when fighting Thresher Maws, I have felt no need to really worry about taking damage at all.
Yeah, the one I fought a Thresher Maw.
Granted, what difficulty are you playing?
Veteran.
You're playing on Veteran. I also played on Veteran. The game as a whole feels so much easier than it used to be.
Maybe
that's because I played a lot of hardcore and I played a lot of legendary.
That's probably what it is.
Maybe, but the game feels easier.
I played it on normal, and I thought to myself, this is way too fucking easy. I can't do this. So I switched over to Veteran.
Yeah.
That's not difficult. It's just harder.
Veteran
it's
nice.
Is
not difficult. I died maybe 6 times.
Yeah. Well, I remember in the original Mass Effect, I died a lot. In this one, I died once. So it's really not that difficult.
Leads into another thing. They've really revamped the quick save and checkpointing.
Oh, way better.
It's so much better. There was only 2 times where I caught a bad checkpoint and had to replay something. Which and it wasn't even that much. It was just drive to the destination.
Oh, okay.
Is the most I had to do.
Mine was very annoying, so still make sure you save if you end up playing this, because it'll save you some trouble at some point.
It would help you if you did, but in the original game, you had to save, you might as well should be saving after every firefight.
Yeah.
Because the checkpointing was so terrible that, you just had to.
Mm-hmm.
And if you knew a boss fight was coming, you had to save right before that boss fight, because you knew your ass was getting launched back 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I remember in the original Mass Effect, I had, nearly an hour having to replay some of those bad checkpoints because I forgot to save. So it's much, 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 much better here. All of that is great. I'll say just well, we're a little bit into it now. But overall, Mass Effect 1 has always been my favorite game. But I've always had to be yeah, but it's got all these issues. Now I think it is definitively the best game in the trilogy. It looks great. Obviously not as good as the other 2. It plays better than it ever has before, and I think it plays well enough now to where it's comparable enough to where everybody should be able to enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
And, but it's still keeping that core thing that always made the first game so great to me, which is that atmosphere and that breadth of how big the universe is and how much you can just take in and devour and jump into just this fully developed world. And just really get lost and explore.
Exactly. There'll be terminals that you click on, and it'll say Codex updated, and it'll have entire information. And it really brought to perspective how much this game framed Mass Effect going forward. Because pretty much all the information you need to know about the world is given to you in that first game. Which, I don't know if,
they go so far as to explain the science fiction behind their space engines.
Yes.
You didn't need to do that.
Mm-hmm. No.
But that's another reason why Mass Effect is just great in general.
Yeah. The writers really went hard on doing all that to make it more of a lived-in universe. But,
Absolutely. Now, Connor, as someone who spent most of his time in Mass Effect 2 and 3, only played Mass Effect 1 once.
Twice.
Twice?
Twice. I did.
Okay,
twice,
but you did it over a decade ago.
Yeah, I did it a long time
Yeah.
ago.
So, what has been how are you feeling mechanically about the game now?
Mechanically, the shooting's a lot more tight. It's helped along by the fact that you have more weapon options than just the pistol or the shotgun.
You're right. They've removed weapon restrictions per class, so now everybody can use all 4 of your weapon types.
Right. The only pitfall is that when you select your class, it'll say which weapons you can use. I had to actually ask you. It was like, you can use them all, right?
Yes.
I forgot they actually said that in another news release.
What they mean by that is they can specialize in a weapon.
Yes.
So every class can specialize in the pistol, which means in your upgrade list of trees, which I wish they had updated the UI, because it's still the same UI and it's still kind of clunky and they've done some things to make it better, like you can mark items as trash and then deconstruct all trash at the same time. That's really helpful. That does save a lot of time.
Yeah. Though, quick note, cycling through all of your inventory takes a while. When I'm trying to dismantle a bunch of ammo types, I'm like, okay, going, because it's going by it single bit by bit.
Yep. So I do wish that, but in your upgrade tree, it gives you a weapon like pistol, and you can increase the damage and the accuracy of the pistol little by little as you get your upgrade points.
Yeah.
Now, classes that have specializations in other weapons. I believe the engineer has a shotgun. No, he doesn't.
I think they have a sniper and a pistol.
No, that's the infiltrator.
An infiltrator, yeah.
Who is it? Is it the Vanguard? I don't remember.
Vanguard uses pistols and shotguns.
Pistols and shotguns. So there you go. I could have sworn the engineer uses shotguns too. But anyways, and then the soldier uses all types. So the soldier can upgrade assault rifles, sniper rifles, shotguns, pistols, all of it, and get them all super boosted, heavy powered, and all of this. But whereas before, if you tried to use a weapon outside of your specialization, it was practically unusable. Reticle would increase to the entire size of the screen. You wouldn't be able to aim down sights with a sniper rifle. Shit was trash. And you basically just were forced to use the pistol 100% of the time.
Which was very limiting to have all these different guns and then just not be able to use...
Yeah, because you carried all 4 of them on you. Granted, you just never gave yourself better versions of those guns, because what would be the point, because you can't use them.
Yeah.
But with enemies because these guns work off of an overheat system as opposed to a thermal clip system like the later games do, and with enemies who have the ability to overheat your weapons almost instantly, it becomes a matter of, shit, my gun's overheated, fuck, now I have to sit back and wait.
Yeah,
and
or
now
use whatever other gun you have, which might not be good for that situation.
Well, in the original version, you couldn't do that, because you just wouldn't hit your shot. You just couldn't hit your shot. And, your shit wouldn't be powerful enough because you were giving all the weapons to your squad mates. Whereas in this version, now I can have a really good assault rifle equipped as a biotic, which is like a mage class for those who never played Mass Effect. I can have an assault rifle equipped and still use it effectively. And even by the end of the game, I was using the assault rifle close to the end of the game.
Yeah. It's consistently good because you can use it with whatever class.
It works. Granted, I was still using the pistol mostly because I was able to upgrade it and have it be super powerful, so I was knocking dudes out 4 or 5 shots with the pistol, whereas the assault rifle would take a little more work to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
They've also improved hit detection and applied bonus damage to headshots for enemies where headshots matter. Love that. It's very nice.
I remember, in the older game when I first played it, I would sometimes hit enemies and be like, "Am I hitting this person? I have no clue whether I'm actually."
There was a lot more rolling of the dice.
Yeah.
Going in like a classical RPG sense, which makes sense considering they made this game right off of making Knights of the Old Republic, which is a much more classic RPG game. That we really don't even see those types of RPGs anymore. So the original Mass Effect still had elements of that, but was caught in between trying to be an action game and an RPG. By the time Mass Effect 2 comes around, they pretty much lean into the action game more than the RPG side. So it's nice to see that they've reduced the amount of RDM or dice rolls in weapons. When you go to shoot, you're gonna hit your shot if you've got the aim.
Yeah,
mostly.
Which, just to backpack off that, the biggest issue in terms of gameplay, despite all it feeling tight, the guns working really well, a lot of the tech and biotic abilities, I'll have moments where if you're not directly pointing on, like, it'll highlight if there's an enemy you're selecting to use a certain ability on, but if you're not on them, pinpoint, when you select that ability, it's just going to completely miss and hit a wall or something like that. Which is,
I had many moments where I was in cover, and because the camera is lower, because I was crouched in cover, I would tell Rex or Garrus or someone to use an ability, and it would just hit the piece of cover that I was on because the game got confused. 2007.
Yeah, right. Fixed it later in Mass Effect 2 and 3 from my knowledge.
Definitely in 3 it's fine. 2, I don't recall it ever being an issue, but, you know, it's mostly an issue in the first one. But the first one, the abilities matter a lot more.
They do, yeah. Because, I mean, sometimes all characters had were abilities when all they had was the pistol. You had to rely on that a lot more.
If you were a biotic, you needed those abilities to work, or else you would be in trouble.
Yeah.
There was also a lot less moments for me. They also made the Krogan so much weaker in this game. Like, Krogan used to be tough as fucking hell
I know.
in the original game. Like they were trouble. In this one, much less so. Granted, you still don't want, like, to ignore them. Like, they're still the main threat when they show up, but they're not nearly as dangerous as they used to be.
No. Even Geth Juggernauts, those big guys, were really tough. I just
you're thinking of Devastators. You're not far enough to
the
get
red guys. The big red guys?
Oh.
I haven't gotten that far.
Wait till you find a Geth Prime.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Which Geth Primes don't show up until much later in the game. In fact, because I didn't do every side mission. I know there's a side mission like where you have to like go to like 3 different planets in 3 different systems and fight like waves of Geth. I skipped that mission because I already had the trophy.
Yeah.
For completing most of the game. But yeah, so like Geth Prime, especially in the last mission, they will kick your teeth in.
You made me just remember those guys. I remember, they're very, very big.
They're big.
Yeah.
They're big. Anyways, so yeah, Mass Effect 1 plays better than it ever has, feels better than it ever has, looks better than it ever has. Fucking love it. Did you do the DLC Asteroid mission? Yeah,
I did.
As someone who didn't play it originally, what'd you think of it?
Well, you see, going into another criticism I have.
Oh, okay.
So, I know going into Mass Effect 2, the RPG elements are going to be cast more to the wayside than they are, compared to how prominent they are in Mass Effect 1.
Yes.
That's overall disappointing.
Sure.
One thing Mass Effect 2 does good, though, is the actions that you can take, whether they're Renegade actions or Paragon actions, good or bad actions, that go beyond dialogue options and actually have you doing things. So, leading into that, the RPG elements are very, very strong in this game. Mm-hmm. You can define your character a lot more based on your dialogue options. Mm-hmm. It works kind of how games have worked for a while now.
The flexibility of Shepard's character is at an all-time high in this first one.
Yes. The one disappointing thing is the side quests. I remember why I didn't do them as much, and it's just they're kind of more boring. They're not really interesting. They're very cookie cutter. It's a lot of lose this. Find my.
It's a lot of go to cookie cutter base, shoot everybody, and then report back.
Yes, even ones that take place on somewhere like the Citadel. It said, hey, go to CSEC to talk to this person. And the quest was somewhere like in the bar area of the Citadel. I went to CSEC, I talked to a person for like 40 seconds, and it said, okay, go back to the bar. I'm like, well, that's all? You didn't maybe go all the way over here, and now I gotta go back just to talk to somebody on something that's not really interesting to begin with? Okay. So that added to the repetition of things. So I brought that up with the DLC, because it just felt like another side quest. Better than a lot of the other side quests that I played.
Sure.
But if I had bought that DLC back in the day, I would have felt a little bit miffed at the time. Now, I do know that the Batarian introduction.
Well, I don't think it was like a $20. Like I think it was max $20. Like it was probably like 10 or 15.
But 11-year-old me. Or 12-year-old me, or however old I was, probably wouldn't have.
Fuck that kid.
Yeah, but I would have been like, $20? Why can I go to McDonald's like 3 times with that money?
Let me find what it actually was.
Either way, it was, not the best. It wasn't bad. I never sat through that mission and was like, man, this just sucks. But
it's definitely like the best
better.
Version of a side quest in Mass Effect.
Yes, absolutely.
One.
Especially after doing a AI side mission that I remembered why I hated it. Because I remember getting it and I was like, I don't think I like this mission. And then when I fought, like, boring drones to fight through these repetitive...
Are you talking on the moon?
Yeah.
Dude,
fucking hate that.
Wait. No, I mean like wait and keep playing. That's going to turn into something.
Okay, so that's the thing I should specify.
No spoilers. That's going to turn into something.
That's the thing I should specify, because I know the DLC has payoffs in later games. Mm-hmm. So this is solely...
the DLC has a very small payoff, and it's only if you make one decision.
Oh, okay. But despite that fact, it at least does something... My criticisms lie mainly in gameplay, with it just being repetitive.
Sure, but these are all the same criticisms that everybody's had about Mass Effect 1 for 15 years.
It's just those things didn't really change in this new remastered version. I never felt
No, you're looking at... This is the best Mass Effect 1 can ever be without getting a full remake.
Right. But that's really the end of it. Just it was okay. It was fine.
That mission was okay and fine. How are you feeling about your experience as a whole so far?
Overall, because those RPG elements are so prominent, and I do miss them going away in later games, I'm really enjoying those, because I like defining my character in broader, in more complex ways rather than just Paragon options and Renegade options, which I know is going to become more of the thing that you have to decide between in later games, if I'm correct.
This one you can there's some flexibility. You can, I could be a little Paragon with this character, but more Renegade with this character, whereas in 2 and 3 gets a little tougher.
Yeah.
There's also like some mechanics, like I know they've changed the galaxy readiness of war, whatever it is, that little meter in Mass Effect 3. They've changed how that works. Obviously, the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer was not included, but the project director says, it could return. What does he say?
IGN article.
But we want to see what kind of reception Legendary Edition gets and what the demand for the multiplayer is. If I were to guess, we're getting it. Because it's also selling quite well.
Yes.
Highest concurrence for the entire franchise. But, I mean, that makes sense. Like, what are your highest concurrence going to be? For Mass Effect 3 at its peak?
Yeah.
Like, we're now talking nearly 10 years after after Mass Effect 3 came out.
Yeah.
Hype is at an all-time high for Mass Effect.
There's hype for Mass Effect. There's more players in general. Many of those might not have played any Mass Effect game, so obviously they want to jump in on it.
Exactly. It's on more systems than it was before.
More systems.
With the inclusion of next-gen and current-gen systems plus PC. Whereas, the first Mass Effect didn't even launch on PlayStation. So
No, it did not.
That leads into why... there's a lot of people online saying, hey, I can't wait to play it. I've never played Mass Effect 1.
Yeah, and that's really good because BioWare really needed this with their past recent failures. And
this is a great step in the right direction for BioWare, especially after Anthem flopping, Mass Effect Andromeda not, giving us what we need. And they've got another Mass Effect coming, so I'm hoping that this is a good sign of things to come.
Sounds like a hype generation for the next Mass Effect games. People are going to be more excited for that.
Yeah, but just the fact that I have this on a modern console, is enough for me.
Yeah, So BioWare could have imploded, but at least you got Mass Effect.
I've got my Mass Effect fix right here, baby. I want to talk about trophies real quick, just because I'm that guy and I'm that nerd.
You'll appeal to that that very specific community of, oh boy, you get to talk about the trophies now. I wonder how hard it is.
Well, actually, the trophy list is fantastic, and I recommend everybody go and platinum these games because they're that good and they're that worth it, and it's that easy this time around. I think I said it before. Mass Effect 1 required a minimum of 3. I did it in 4.5 or whatever. Playthroughs to beat the game. A lot of the things that led into that is you had to complete a majority of the game with every squad mate. So there were 6 squad mates, automatically requires 3 playthroughs. You had to use every ability and get kills with every weapon, but it only counted for Shepard. So Shepard had to use every biotic ability. Shepard had to use every engineer ability.
Fucking
Shepard had to kill with every weapon. Now, the weapon trophies have been removed completely. I assume because of the class restriction. What's the point? But the biotics and the engineer abilities are still there. However, Shepard isn't the one who has to use them. Your squad mates using overload or biotic pull, or I'm sorry, biotic throw, because pull isn't in this game.
Yeah.
Count towards that counter as well. So, for example, I played as an adept, but I just surrounded myself with engineer people and got all the engineer trophies that I needed.
Mm-hmm.
Super easy, super quick. The squad mate trophies have been reduced from complete the majority of the game with each squad mate to complete 5 missions with each squad mate. Literally, Tali and Liara, I completed with a single visit to the Citadel.
I was popping those trophies left and right. I was like, I got, what is that? I just did in 5 minutes.
Just do it quick. Do it, Tally and Liara I did in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Because I just went to the Citadel and I started turning in quests and finishing up things and then pop, there they go.
And I constantly switched between characters, but I still got it for multiple characters
Yeah.
without even realizing it.
Yeah.
Like, I did it.
Yeah, the hardest one is still get the abilities in because there's a lot of abilities.
Yeah.
And you're working off of cooldowns and not every, specifically with the engineer abilities, obviously like AI hack isn't going to work on pirates or raiders.
Yeah.
You have to have drones or Geth and use the AI hack on them for that to work and for that to count.
That still sounds like the worst class to me. The engineer.
Engineer?
Uh-huh.
It's got its uses. On the Geth heavy levels, you're pretty much God. But to me, Adept is still far and away the best class. What are you playing as?
I'm playing Vanguard.
You're playing Vanguard, which is a mix between which?
It's kind of like the Adept and the like. It's kind of techie too.
So kind of Adept and Engineer-ish.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
This one is different from the other ones, in which case it's not like its own class with its own specific abilities like 2 and 3 do.
Yeah.
It's just a mix and match of 2 of the primary 3. Yeah, it's fine. Whatever.
I'm pretty aware that of abilities kind of getting better as the games go on. Because I remember, I can't remember what class it is, but one of them, I'm pretty sure it's the Vanguard, which is why I subconsciously chose it. In Mass Effect 2, the powers seem a lot more impactful and explosive than some of the other ones. Because there's a lot of crossover with abilities from like Adepts and... Because I have Lift, I have Pull, Push, Warp, which...
those are like your main. Those are like your main 3 adept things. So like, and adepts will also have like singularity and barrier, which is like like an extra shield. So if my shields ever went down, I just popped a barrier and then suddenly like I'm invincible again.
Adepts have that?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know. You're probably thinking of like a tech armor or something.
I have that. Yeah, I have barrier.
You have barrier.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So like barrier is a pretty important one. And then barrier in combination with the default shield boost ability, you've just got shields all the time, man.
I feel like. Maybe the Vanguard is just, in Mass Effect 1, a worse adept.
Ideally, pick one of the primary 3.
I think why I chose him was because of the shotgun classification, because I know the adept does not have that, only has the pistol.
It's only the pistol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which doesn't really matter as much in this game.
Just fucking kill people with the pistol. It's not that big of a deal. The shooting doesn't feel... And that's like a critique I have with the main game. None of the guns feel that great to use.
Mm.
They just don't. It just kind of feels like ticking off health of an enemy.
That is true. Bullet sponges.
The only one that has any kind of impact is the shotgun, especially in later levels where you're just wiping dudes out with 1 or 2 shots.
Yeah.
And laying them out. But like, okay, so I got my sniper. All right, pop. Okay, he's dead. Okay, I have my assault rifle. All right, he's dead. I do want to say they've included something in this game that I'm 90% sure wasn't in the original, which is different weapon, like different firing modes for weapons. Like some weapons are a 3-round burst, or some are full auto, some are single shot, which wasn't in the original game.
You see, I thought it was.
I'm fairly certain it isn't. There's one specifically. There's later in one of the Geth heavy weapons, you can get the Geth rifle, which has like a
beam.
No, it's not a beam. It's a like a speed up thing where like you start shooting and it's slow and then it speeds up as you continue shooting.
Yeah.
I'm like 90% sure none of this was in the original game. I'm like 90% sure that every weapon felt pretty much the same.
I mean, you played it last, so I would defer to you on that.
Like 90% sure. Now, in 2 and 3, that happens.
Oh, yeah. I remember that specifically.
Yeah.
Which is why I might be getting confused with that, because I was just so used to
In 1, I'm 90% sure every weapon felt the exact same. Like, some might shoot faster, but they all, like, if you held down the trigger, they all shot until you overheated your gun.
There were, like, 2 skins as well for each weapon, which, almost...
Yeah, there was the default form and then, like, an alternate form, and then, like, just different paint jobs on all of those. But this one, like, there are different... Like, you can see it. Like, there's different weapon types of, like, examples that you would see later in the series that are now in this one.
Yes. I remember that, such as the one gun that I'm using right now is a single-fire weapon for my assault rifle. I know that specific look of the gun becomes, like, a burst weapon.
Okay, yeah, I know the one you're talking about. So that form of the gun was in the original game, but it was just an aesthetic thing. It still functioned like the Lancer.
Right. I remember the form was the same. But I didn't know about the firing modes.
So, anyways, that is, I think. Oh, there was something else I wanted to say. Oh, that's it. I want to speak on the graphical improvements again, just real quick. It's very, very clear the main missions and the main central hub areas are the ones that got the most work. All of the Uncharted worlds look better, but they're still clearly fuck it, man, just throw up some mountains, throw down a texture.
Very boring to look at.
Very boring to look at. So,
which, I mean, if you're trying to remake 3 games, the last thing you're going to be thinking about is
remaster,
doing all these different things for stuff you really don't care about at the end of the day.
Sure, and to be fair, some of the Uncharted worlds look better than others. There are some that have grass or have wildlife that was or wasn't there before. Obviously, the grass wasn't there, but some planets have wildlife. But it feels like more have wildlife now. Maybe I'm tripping. Yeah, but when you go to Pharos, that's a thing. The way the light shines through the wreckage of the city, it's fuck, man, looks great.
Yeah. The Normandy looks very, very crisp and clean.
The Normandy looks great. The Citadel looks great. I want to shout out the final mission and the final the climax of the game looks phenomenal, especially because of the rising stakes and things that are going on in the narrative. In the original game, there was a lot of cutting to different scenes. So, you would cut to the Citadel, and then you would cut to a ship, and then you would cut to the Normandy, and then you would cut back to the Citadel. And then you would cut to a different part of the Citadel. On the old hardware, because of all these different cuts, and it requires so much loading of the environment, often these cutscenes would play, and none of the textures had loaded yet. So everything was really fucking blurry. In this version, that's not a problem. Everything is cutting in real quick. I had almost no texture pop in. Except for when I first entered an Uncharted world or something. But in terms of cutscenes or when I'm just in the original game, if I just opened a door, there was a solid enough chance that the door would open and then none of the textures would be loaded.
Yeah,
and it would just be a blurry mess, and then they would pop in. Almost none of that in this version. Still kind of there sometimes, but almost none.
You playing on PS5 and me playing on PS4, it's also the same way. I don't really see much texture popping.
Let me know how, when you get to the end of the game, let me know how
the
cutting to different scenes works.
Yeah.
Because in the original game, it was a mess. And now, it looks beautiful.
I remember it being bad back when I played it on the Xbox 360.
Oh, it was a mess.
Yeah.
But now it looks great, and it adds so much weight to that final few moments that weren't there before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's a couple moments that I'll talk to you about off mic that I thought were amazing.
Some important thing to note, by the way, because it was the most annoying thing playing Mass Effect 1, the load times. Gone.
Practically gone.
Load times are still obviously there, and it gets more in the way than some other games I play.
Yeah.
But they've cut it down a lot.
So the original Mass Effect, specifically on the Citadel, tried to hide their loading screens as much as possible with elevators, and you would be on these elevators for upwards of a minute.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
In this version... and then they tried to help with that by having dialogue between characters play. But that dialogue would only be for 30 seconds. So you're still sitting there for 30 seconds, just kind of checking your watch, being like, what the fuck is going on? Or a newscast would play of events that are happening in the world. Now, and before you would get on the elevator, doors would shut, elevator would start moving, there would be another beat or two, and then the dialogue would play. And then the dialogue would end, and then you'd still be on the elevator for 30 seconds. Now, you get on the elevator, door shut, dialogue starts, elevator starts moving. And sometimes the loading screen is done, or the loading is done before the dialogue is now. So, you have a quick little, press X to skip. And then it'll cut the dialogue off, doors will open, and you're there. Maybe 15 seconds.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. 15, 20 seconds.
Dramatic reduction. And then the real, actual, okay, this is just a loading screen, maybe 10 seconds. Not even. You're just looking at it, real quick, and then you're in, you're out. So much so that, it's almost distracting now, because a loading screen will interrupt music sometimes. Where I don't know if it did that before or not. I can't recall. But it'd be oh, music stopped, and then 5 seconds later, we're back into the game, and then the music starts again. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I don't remember that in the original, but it's very possible that it was still that way. But with a 45-second to a minute-long loading screen, when the music cut back in, it obviously didn't, like, mean anything.
Yeah.
Whereas here, I also feel like they've added more musical cues, because there are moments that happen where, like, a music sting will play, and I don't remember a music sting playing in those moments. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that they've added more musical cues. But yeah, overall, I'm super happy with this product. Playing Mass Effect 2, they've also tweaked the shooting in Mass Effect 2 just a little bit. They've just tweaked it.
Yeah.
Made it feel a little more modern. Just a little bit. Just a touch. I like the new crosshairs that they've added to all 3 games, where like it's just a white crosshair for a body shot, red crosshair for a headshot. The in-game UI for the first game has been totally reworked and revamped. Works pretty well. It matches that same scheme that 2 and 3 had, but they're not. Each game has their own like little small differences in UI. I do wish they had unified the UI across all 3 games, but fine, whatever. There's even a cute little animation when you pull your gun up of like the gun in the like little like icon in the first game, at least, not in the second and third. Of the gun, like, because like the gun's all like compact so that they're easier to carry around. But when you like pull them out, they decompact, and there's a little animation for each gun decompacting in the like little like UI icon of it.
Oh, okay.
It's very cute. I like it. I wish it was in all the other games, because in all the other games it's just a little picture of the gun.
Yeah.
Anything else you have to say about Mass Effect here, Connor?
Not really. I'm waiting to get more into 1 and finishing that to move on to 2. So I still got some time to play.
I'll say, Connor, just go ahead, go for that platinum, buddy.
I won't.
It's real easy. It's just complete most of the game. You don't even have to do that much.
Oh,
like,
I know.
I think they've lowered the standard of what most of the game means.
Yeah, I just don't want to go through the abilities and be like, oh, you use this one, and then you use that.
Not even that hard. Just make sure you
just
do it once per firefight. You're fine.
No, it's not hard. But
and often if you're playing the game right and using everything to your advantage anyway, you're gonna pop most of those trophies anyway.
Yeah, fair enough.
Especially if you have a well balanced team. Just never have Ashley. Just never have Ashley, and you'll probably get it.
Why do you need Ashley when you have Rex?
That's my point.
Yeah.
Because Rex has biotic abilities, Ashley doesn't.
Yeah, and he's also just got physical abilities that are better.
Like, yeah, sure. Yeah.
Krogan Battlemaster.
They've got the same.
Krogan Battlemaster's the same as hers?
He doesn't have Krogan Battlemaster in this one. At least I don't think he does.
Yeah, he does.
What does that do?
What does it do? I think melee damage is definitely increased.
The AI never does melee.
No.
Oh, they've also they've moved melee in the first game. It was like an automatic thing. You were holding the trigger, and then like based on proximity, if you were too close, Shepard would melee. They've moved that to its own dedicated button now.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And it's the same button that they use in 2 and 3, which is like the circle button. Weird placement. I've always felt it was a weird placement for it, but whatever. It's fine. It works. I do wish there was more options to customize controls. There's almost none.
No.
The most you can do is just switch what the bumpers and the triggers do.
Do 2 do the same, act the same way, or do you have more control there?
I do not recall. I haven't looked. I imagine it does, or it just gives me even less options. I'm also hearing that's a big criticism of the PC port. Almost no options on the PC.
That would suck there.
Yeah, where like you would expect like full breadth of options, like none of that. I imagine you can still mess with your key bindings. I imagine, but I don't know. But I know there's like a lot of like graphical things that PC users are used to doing that you can't do in this, which is unfortunate. But I imagine all of those things will be added later. I will say, also, this is another point I wanted to touch on. Glitches. There used to be glitches galore in the first one. Like, graphical glitches, lots of clipping, lots of, like, enemies, like, falling out of the world. You would fall out of the world occasionally, on top of the textures not loading in and being a lot of pop-in. Mostly, all of those glitches are gone. And bugs are gone, but some new ones have popped up. Specifically, and I would get this occasionally in the first one, but I'm getting it way more often in this one, where Shepard gets stuck, and you can turn the camera, but you can't turn Shepard. And, Shepard is just pointed in one direction and can't do anything, and when you hold sprint, he or she only runs in that one direction. Doesn't matter where you're pointing the camera. And then I've also had an issue where leaving the Mako, any of my action buttons like don't work. So I'll pull my gun out and then I can't shoot my gun, or I'll run up to something I can interact with, and I can't interact with it. I can't get back into the Mako. I'm just stuck there. Only way I've been able to figure out how to fix that is to save the game immediately and reload it. And then as soon as you reload, everything is fine. Now, because the load times are down so much, it's not super annoying, but it's happening more often than I would like it to happen. I want to say in my playthrough of like 20 hours, one of those things would happen every hour and a half.
Oh, okay. I've only experienced small things such as enemies clipping through walls and being able to shoot them, or getting out of the Mako and then getting back in and the aiming reticle just being not there, even when I zoom in.
I had that issue one time.
Yeah, I have that all the time.
Yeah, I had that issue one time. But mostly it's Shepard's orientation gets stuck, which is game breaking. Or my interact buttons stop working, which is game breaking.
Haven't had that happen to me yet. Actually.
Yeah, it happens to me every hour and a half. One of those two things happens. Maybe 2 hours. Every 2 hours, something like that happens. As far as like clipping and stuff, the only clipping I saw was when, and this is just how the game works on a base engine level. About halfway through the game, I maxed out my throw ability, my biotic throw, and if that biotic throw killed that enemy and launched them into the wall, the head would get stuck in the wall, and he'd be like hanging out of the wall like a dart.
Well, that's funny.
And that's funny.
Yeah.
That I just kind of, leave that in. Leave that in. Don't fix that. But the game breaking ones fix those. But, I imagine those problems will be gone within the next month. So, you're still looking at the best way to play these games, the easiest way to play these games, and these games being at their highest quality so far. I hope the bug fixing continues through 2. 2 had some graphical clipping issues as well. I remember Miranda's neck. She's got like a little neck bracer thing. Her neck always clips through it in both 2 and 3. Always. Always, always, always. Her neck clips through that. So I hope that's fixed. I remember 3 having a lot of issues with eyes, like eyelid clipping and, eyeball orientation being in the wrong place. I hope that's fixed. I obviously haven't touched 3, but the majority of the conversation was going to be dominated by 1 anyway. So, there we are. Connor, you have anything to add about Mass Effect?
Not really. We kind of covered all the bases.
Do you think this is worth its $60 price tag?
Definitely worth the $60. I mean, it's 3 games in 1.
I agree as well. I think whether you're a new player or an old one, that absolutely worth its $60 price tag.
There's definite value to be found in there for pretty much anybody from the game.
Absolutely. I mean, I play these games all the time, and I'm loving it. I've actually been going crazy playing it because I've been playing it on Twitch. I started a playthrough with my mom where she's making all the dialogue choices and I'm just driving her through the action points because she's not a gamer. She's a renegade, by the way.
Of course she would be.
Oh my god, dude, she's telling everybody to fuck off. She's like, can you help me find my brother? No, I don't want to. Hey, we don't have to end this in bloodshed. We can be peaceful. No, fuck you. I'm killing you. I'm like, Jesus Christ, mama, calm down.
It's a game for everybody. I mean, if you like action, if you like RPGs, you'll find something here to keep you occupied.
And also, it's one of the best crafted science fiction worlds of all time. I mean, it definitely surpasses Star Wars, like in terms of level of quality in the crafting of the world. It's probably better than Star Trek.
Really?
I don't know. Maybe.
Star
Trek is the only one that's like on par where like.
Does Mass Effect have a language?
Yeah, dude. It's got multiple languages.
Written completely?
I have no idea. Maybe. Oh no, people don't speak it.
Yeah, those fucking Trekkies, man, they can speak it.
They can speak
Klingon.
But Mass Effect also doesn't bother with having people speak different languages because everybody's got a translator in their head or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's some nerd shit. Anyways, Mass Effect Legendary Edition, absolutely worth your purchase. Great for returning players, great for new players, great if you were like a lot of the people I've seen online where you played 2 and 3, loved it, but never played 1. All of the DLC is included with the exception of any multiplayer stuff and Pinnacle Station in the first game, which from all I've heard, you're not missing much with Pinnacle Station. And it's all in there. All the cosmetic things for your crew and for Shepard, it's all there. The character customizer, the character creator, rather, has been unified with all 3 games, given more options than it had at launch. I know you have an issue with the character creator, I guess.
Yeah, I just don't like how some of the characters turn out when you're creating them.
Yeah.
I also saw other people complaining online about them having problems with the character customization and being limited as well at the end of the day.
It's old.
Yeah.
It's old.
But an old element of the game that wasn't really addressed in this new remake.
No, but it was
Remastered.
It was slightly improved. There's more skin tones. There's more hairstyles. I think there's more hair colors as well. I don't remember some of the more vibrant colors being in there, but they might have been. So all that's cool. Story is still phenomenal. Dialogue is still great. Characters are still, I love them just as much as I used to. All of it's there. Absolutely worth the purchase. Absolutely worth your time. And especially with just how much game is in each individual game. Like, you're looking at, if you want to complete and do everything, you're looking at 30 plus hours with each game. So, but if you're like just golden pathing it, you're still going to take 15 at least. Especially as the series goes on and the stories get longer. Like, great game.
Yeah, it's one of those, especially in the later games, you feel compelled to do the side stuff. So you'll probably end up doing a lot of that.
100%. So much so that in Mass Effect 2, the side missions are main missions. Like,
yeah, oh yeah. They
if you don't do those side missions, you're actively hurting yourself.
Yes, you are.
Anyways.
Do the side missions in Mass Effect 2.
Just do the side missions, man. They're mostly pretty good. One, pretty cookie cutter, but there's still some fun little side stories in there. There's a nice little story about a crime syndicate. A lady hires you to take out some crime lords, and you go take out those crime lords. It's very good. It's a very good story. I like that story. I like that story a lot. There's some in the first one, and it's the only one in the trilogy that does this. In the first one, there are side missions that only show up dependent on the backstory you choose for Shepard.
Yep, I did mine for Mass Effect 1.
What is your backstory?
Earthborn. I did Earthborn.
You're an Earthborn. It's the military career one that matters more.
Yeah, is it the end of all the quests?
Oh, you know what? The Earthborn? No, not the Earthborn. The what is it? Spacer, not
Colonist?
Spacer. Colonist. The Colonist has one.
That seemed pretty quick when I did in the original game.
No, I'm saying the Colonist has a side mission dedicated to that backstory alone.
Oh.
Soul Survivor has one, but that's like where Shepard grew up. And then there's the Shepard military career option.
Yeah.
Soul Survivor has one. Oh, you know what? I'm wrong. There's one for where Shepard grows up and where Shepard got their military thing. So you get 2 backstory dependent missions based on what you choose for those stories. That's always fun. That's cute.
Mm-hmm.
Worst thing I can say about 1 is just the limited romance options. So worst thing I can say about it.
There you go.
Mass Effect Legendary Edition. If you're listening to the Breakout episode, hype. Have you ever played? I'm showing my buddy Phil Mass Effect 1 for the first time. Come watch us play at twitch.tv/2pennygames. I've been playing Mass Effect 1, and I will continue playing Mass Effect Legendary Edition with Mass Effect 2 and 3 on twitch.tv/2pennygames for the rest of this week, and, whenever I feel the need. I also play all the other games that come out. I've been playing Returnal, Resident Evil Village on there. Come check us out. Have a good time. Connor, are you joining us with hype this week?
It seems like I probably will.
You probably will?
Yeah.
Get those first few hours in with Phil?
Yeah, see how he likes it.
That'll be a good time. See
his character customization. See what
yeah. I'm excited about it. Until then, thank you for listening to the review. Make sure to check out the 2 Penny Gamescast, which this breakout piece is a part of. And you can find that at youtube.com/2pennygamescast. Same channel you found here. We're also on podcast services. Anyways, thank you for listening. We'll be back with more reviews as pop-in games come out.
Yep.
There you go. All right.
See what the next one is.
Have a good one. Connor.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and wrap this up with some what we've been playing this week.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we've been playing Mass Effect, so we don't need to talk about that.
No,
we just spent however long talking about it. What else have you been playing this week?
So I played 2 big games. The first was Dead Space 2 went on sale. So
I saw you playing this.
Yeah, a while ago, Dead Space 1 went on sale. It was on my wish list. Always wanted to play it, so I said, sure. I enjoyed it. Pretty good much.
The first one, so you were like, okay, let me dive into the second one.
The second one is definitely better.
Oh, fantastic. My God, I'm so glad to hear you say that.
Oh, yeah. It's the story's more interesting. Oh. Isaac actually has a character that's also interesting with him dealing with the events of what happened in the first game.
Badass.
Some extra characters are there, specifically a character named Strauss and Ellie, who I both...
Strauss is your antagonist, isn't he?
Kinda. No, Tideman's your antagonist. The big head guy of the city you're on.
Don't remember.
Strauss is more of a...
I remember Ellie.
Character.
I remember liking Ellie.
Ellie's great in this game. A fun character to have alongside Isaac. the gameplay definitely has that greater emphasis on action.
Yeah.
With only the only two big horror elements being the beginning of the game when you don't have a weapon.
Yeah.
That basically was, nothing though, because you just had a flashlight and you knew nothing
It's
was
pretty
going to attack you.
QTE, just run through the event.
Not even QTE. You didn't there was
like some button mashing to fights to push some dudes off of you or something?
There's one moment.
One moment?
Yeah,
okay.
it's not really a bit. There is button mashing in the game, quick time events and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they're not really prevalent
Okay.
in the game. The other one is when you return to the Ishimura. That part was actually pretty...
Oh my god, I forgot that happened.
That part is probably scarier. That captures the first couple hours of Dead Space 1 before you get used to everything.
That's
and
badass.
You're not scared anymore. There's voices that obviously aren't there, but they're in
Isaac's
head.
losing his mind at this point. Yeah.
But it's not like other parts of the game where the orange tinge comes across the screen and he's having hallucinations. This one, it's very subtle. And you find recordings of people that experience the same exact thing because they're hearing it as well. Scratchings in the wall, even though nothing jumps out. There's very little jump scares during that entire section of the game, but you feel like every second there's going to be something and build suspense while you're walking through these halls of very cramped rooms.
The moment-to-moment action, how is that holding up?
Well, the weapons overall are better.
Okay.
One of the weapons I used in Dead Space 1 was the Ripper. It wasn't that good of a weapon. It put a saw blade out in front of you.
I remember the Ripper quite well.
It was so easy to
Not
find.
a very good weapon.
No, but it was easy to find ammunition, so I used it. In this game, it's easy to find ammunition for pretty much all the guns, except maybe the line gun, because it's so good. So you end up using and switching over your weapons a lot more than you did in 1, where you usually only stuck to the plasma cutter and sometimes pull out the pulse rifle. No, you didn't even pull out the pulse rifle all that much.
You only need the plasma cutter.
Yeah, that and the line gun are the two weapons.
Yeah.
Get
those little babies with the big tentacles. Just pop that line gun out. Bam,
dead instantly. The black necromorphs, the tougher ones.
Oh my god, I forgot about those.
Yeah, you take them out pretty quickly with that line gun. The guns all feel great though.
Awesome.
They control better. Just slightly. Not a big.
Everything's
amount.
much looser and tighter. Like Isaac feels loose and more controllable to my memory.
He does.
But the aiming and the shooting feels tighter to my memory.
Especially the pulse gun, which all of a sudden becomes a very good gun because you feel a lot more impact behind it. You feel like you're actually shooting an assault rifle.
Yeah.
As where before it's like a kind of lame feeling in your hands, even though it looks like it would be cool.
Great.
It's a very, very solid game.
Now, the thing that's great about Dead Space 1 is the atmosphere in the world of the Ishimura.
Yes,
and all of that. Is that still continuing in 2, or is it less so? Or
no, because you're in the setting's completely different. Spaces are more wide open to allow for greater action rather than horror. Whereas as Dead Space 1, the focus was always to make you feel as in suspense as possible.
Yeah, very unnerving.
Yes.
Ishimura.
This game did not try to do that. There are creepy moments. And moments where things come behind you, and because there's no music cue, you don't know they're there unless you because there's been moments where I get this feeling of something's behind me, isn't it? And then they're just coming up right behind me. Those moments are creepy.
Oh.
But that's a continuation of what happened in Dead Space 1, and because the quarters aren't as tightly cramped, you have less of that happening because they could be, at the other end of a room and have enough time to respond, or they're not right up in your face, so it's not really creepy. Okay. So it's not the same, but it kind of works to its advantage because it's okay, you played the first game, you know how this horror works, might as well just, focus on these more varied enemy types, using the guns that feel better to take out swaths of enemies because now more are coming at you at any given time.
Sure.
To make up for the fact that you're not in cramped quarters. So there's not as many surprises.
So mechanically just all around better.
All around better. The story's better. Really, the only reason you would think is the first one is better is if you really like those more intimate, scary moments as opposed to what 2 offers.
Better atmosphere, better scares. 2, more action, more fun, more story.
Because in the first game, though, that atmosphere kind of left you near the end of the game. You're like, okay, I'm used to everything.
There's that moment where you're you're too powerful to really be fucked with anymore.
Yeah. I never have moments where I'm like, Dead Space 2 is getting boring. I'm always just... I know I'm going to be to the end of this game and never really have a moment where I'm bored. So it's very good.
Fantastic. How many hours do you put in?
Should
be what, a 12-hour-ish game?
Yeah, I put in maybe 7 hours.
Okay, so
you're 8 hours.
You're on your way to the third act.
Almost.
Yeah.
I just got to the third act right when I left to play Mass Effect, and the other game I played a little bit of, which is the Guilty Gear Strive beta. Kind of had some issues choosing a character for the game, as opposed to the last time I played the beta, where I decided on a character named Milia Rage. They changed the air movement, so you can't do that as well, and this character is very much air-centric and getting in through the air.
Okay.
So the fact that they nerfed that disappointed me, and now I've gone the complete opposite direction from choosing that character, who is also very light and died pretty quickly at the expense of doing her attacks fast, to a character that has a ton of health, but attacks very, very slowly, but causes big amounts of damage. So
okay.
It's a pretty big change, but I played with some friends, and it was fun. I'm excited for the game to come out and to have the full experience on June 11th, same day as Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, that's June 11th.
Yeah, so be happy for that.
You have a busy June, aren't you?
Yeah.
All right.
That and Final Fantasy, the two ones that are going to take my time.
Exactly. There we go.
But that's what I played.
All right. So I've been continuing my experience in Returnal, just, plugging away at some runs. I got further than I ever have. Been fighting some boss fights and stuff. It's great. So great. Oh my god, that game is amazing. And there's some great moments in that game when I think I mentioned it in my initial impressions bit, where like you go into a house and it gets kind of PT-ish. Some great little twists that they do that you're not ready for. And, oh man, it's so good. So good. Love it so much. Everybody should go play Returnal. I've also finished Resident Evil Village, as I predicted last week that I would. Resident Evil Village, overall, really good experience. Really fun time, really worth your time if you're a Resident Evil fan.
People have been raging about it on Twitter for this past week.
It's a good time.
Or raving about
it. But if anybody comes with any critiques, they're probably all the same critiques, and I 100% understand and even agree with them for most of it. It's clear Lady Dimitrescu, they didn't know what they had on their hands when they made that character, or when they were making this game, and she became the marketing beat, because she's easily the best antagonist in the game, easily eats up the screen every time she's on it, and is in the game for way too little. Mm-hmm. Way too little.
Very disappointing when I heard that.
Yeah, and once she's gone, none of the other characters come anywhere near her. However, the environment that you go... This game is laid out in a way to where each antagonist has their own, we'll say, realm, or their own house, or their own, area. And each area gives you a very different type of feeling. Lady D is that classic... with the castle, is that classic, Spencer Mansion type of feel. The one immediately after that is much more psychological horror, puzzle room, and so clearly rips off PT that I cannot believe Capcom is not getting sued by Konami.
But it's scary. It was effective.
Oh, dude, it's horrifying, and it's the best moment. It's one of the best moments in Resident Evil ever.
I've unfortunately kind of gotten spoiled on that front.
We'll talk about that off mic.
We will. Nothing really factual. I don't know exactly what happens, but I'm excited to play it.
Was the creature spoiled for you?
Yes.
Oh, that's so unfortunate.
Yeah.
Because when that thing came up, oh my god, it took. Anyways,
everyone's talking about it. Yeah.
Oh my fucking god, that was amazing. My biggest problems with the games come in the last quarter to a third, where in classic Resident Evil fashion, they have a laboratory/factory level, and this is one of the worst factory levels in Resident Evil ever.
It boggles my mind, because I only hear that these places are the worst parts of a game.
Yeah.
They keep on fucking putting it in. It's like, okay, you have to realize...
It's not because these levels are bad, except for Resident Evil Village. It's bad. It's because you're reaching a point in the game to where the environment and the monsters are no longer scary.
No.
So instead of trying to scare you, they're now throwing action and level design at you, and how you interact with those at you. It worked the best in 3 so far, in my opinion. But I also really liked Resident Evil 2's laboratory level as well.
Mm-hmm.
7 got dinged real hard by critics for it, but 7 backed up the not so greatness that is that boat/laboratory level with some really cool story twists. This one does not do that. In fact, a lot of the story twists I would much rather have them not made, because they're hinting at things that
shouldn't be hinted at.
They're cutting back to things from older Resident Evil games that I really would rather you just left in the past. And instead of trying to make it all fit canonically, just leave it in the past and let everybody forget about it. Now there are some things that I'm like, okay, if you implement and execute on this well enough in later games, that's cool. but if you don't, fuck off. Stop doing this immediately. And then just the end of the game I wasn't super impressed with. I did like the final boss. I'll say that much.
You did?
Yeah, which I think in the last realm of, or in this new wave of Resident Evil from 7, 2 Remake, and 3 Remake, this has been my favorite final boss.
Oh, okay, good.
Which I think speaks to how well Resident Evil Village plays. Village plays much better than 7 does. Not as well as, the third-person games play, but, still super solid. And I think the way they implement this final boss really, really works. It was also the only boss that gave me any type of challenge. So I'll say that much.
Yeah, so even the scary one wasn't all that.
Oh no, that's not a challenge. It's not it's not a challenge at all. It's just scary.
Okay.
Yeah. So and this was the only boss fight that I died and had to restart. So yeah, there's that. Resident Evil Village though, overall pretty positive, but it does have some shortcomings to make it not as high as I would have liked it to have been.
Higher than 7, but not.
Oh, it's not even getting close to 2 Remake.
But is it better than 3?
I like it more than 3, yes.
Uh-huh.
I like it mechanically more than 3. However, I will say I took the time to platinum 3. I'm not platinuming Village.
Okay.
1, because it takes too much effort. It just takes too much effort. 3 was such an easy platinum, and it was such a shorter game. This one, I'm cool. I don't feel, and there are areas of the game that I don't like playing through. I wasn't a big fan of the Village in the early hours. As we kept coming back to the Village, I grew to like it more as I learned the layout, but I would have to the level of detail I would have to go into to plan some of these playthroughs, because there's a speedrun playthrough, there's a completionist playthrough, there's a there's a playthrough without using any health items, all these different playthroughs. The game's too long for that. I don't want to do it. So yeah, and then there's one for beating the game with only melee, except for some scripted moments where you have to do. You have to shoot, but it's who the fuck wants to do that?
That sounds
Nobody
terrible.
wants to do that. Terrible trophy list. And then there's a lot of implementation of the Mercenaries game mode, which I'm seeing online. A lot of people actually really like the Mercenaries mode. I didn't try it. I don't think I ever will. I would much rather just play Returnal.
Yeah, it's already going to be a time sinker as it is. So yeah.
Exactly. So that is all I've been playing this week, with the inclusion of Mass Effect, and I will be continuing to play Mass Effect. I don't see myself coming back to Resident Evil Village. I do see myself coming back to Returnal quite often. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it for your 2 Penny Gamescast. However, we do have an After the Hype Super Mario Sunshine review coming up right after this. So, please stick tuned to that. If you would rather just end it here and listen to the After the Hype later, it will come out Tuesday, 8 a.m., and then make sure you catch us Tuesday, 1 p.m. Central Time, twitch.tv/2pennygames, as Phil plays through Mass Effect 1 for the first time. It's going to be very exciting. Please, please, please jump in on that, because I think it's going to be one of the better hype series that we've made. Until then, I'm going to go ahead and end it here, say goodbye to Connor, and then cut over to Phil. So, Connor, say goodbye to the people.
See ya.
And say hello to the people, Phil. And welcome back.
Hello.
To After the Hype, our review show for games that we play on twitch.tv/2pennygames.
You're goddamn right.
Our series called Have You Ever Played, acronymed to Hype, HYEP. We do every Tuesday, 1 p.m. Central Time. Mm-hmm. This time, Phil, you showed me that there's Super Mario Sunshine.
I sure did,
You had me play the whole game all the way through on stream for the first time ever.
Boy, oh boy. Great game.
Great game. I really liked it.
Yeah.
Really, really enjoyed it. Now, Super Mario Sunshine, if you didn't know, came out August 25th, 2002. Sold about 6.28 million copies on the GameCube.
We were 4 years old.
We were indeed. 92 on Metacritic right now. Mario, in comparison to the other games in the series, Mario 64, 94 on Metacritic, sold 12 million. Makes sense. GameCube.
I'm pretty sure that's actually higher than what it was when it came out, because it was not initially very well received.
Really? For Sunshine or for
Sunshine?
Yeah. No, that would probably make sense. So, 92 on Metacritic, 90 for 64, 94 Metacritic, 12 million copies sold. Galaxy 1 and 2, both were 97 on Metacritic. 1 sold 12.8, 2 sold 7.4. Super Mario Odyssey, the most recent game for the Nintendo Switch, 97 on Metacritic, 20 million copies sold. That's a lot of copies.
It is quite, in my opinion, it's the best 3D Mario game, Odyssey.
Super Mario Odyssey?
Odyssey, yes.
It's a toss-up between Galaxy 1 and Odyssey for me. Depends on what day you catch me on.
No, Odyssey for me is the best.
Today's an Odyssey
You like
day.
Galaxy 2 better than Odyssey?
No, I've never played Galaxy 2.
I thought you were saying Galaxy
1.
2. Okay.
Galaxy 1. No. So $6.28 million or 6.28 million units sold. The lowest amount kind of makes sense. GameCube didn't sell as many consoles out there as all the other ones.
I had a GameCube.
I did not.
I had a GameCube.
I did not. I had friends who had GameCubes. I had a PS2.
Yep, I had a GameCube. I used to play Sunshine in my little room.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So go ahead, give me your background on Super Mario Sunshine. Where you just a game you always had around the house, or
Yeah, I was a wee babby.
Wee baby.
When I was gifted my GameCube, not like a holiday or like a birthday or anything. My mom just had a GameCube one day.
Oh,
and,
nice.
And she was like, "Here, you got a GameCube now." I was like, "Wow, I've never." I had actually seen the console before because I had a neighbor at I used to live in a cul-de-sac, and he also had a GameCube, and then I had a GameCube. And yeah, I used to play Smash Brothers, and I used to main Mewtwo on Smash Brothers Melee, and now Melee is a bad game. Or outdated. It's not bad.
It's outdated.
I'll
give it outdated.
I
think it's
but no, I played Mario Sunshine. I played a shit ton of Mario Sunshine as a kid. I never beat it when I was a child.
Often how things go as a child.
Yep, never beat it.
Lots of never beats.
Obviously, I've beaten it since.
Yeah.
There was a time before. I still have. I'm pretty sure I still own my GameCube copy of Sunshine. Not entirely sure.
Not entirely sure. It might be stuffed away in a box or somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere. It might still be back in Houston. But I remember opening up and playing it again, not recently, but like when I was like 15, maybe 15, 16.
That's where the real love fell.
That's. I mean, sure. It was still nostalgia from then because I remember playing when I was a kid, and then I was like, man, this game's cool. I like this game a lot.
Solid game.
And then it got re-released for the 3D All-Stars, and I was like hyped as fuck
on Switch. Yeah. With 64 and with Galaxy 1.
Yeah, and I hadn't played Sunshine in
rest in peace Galaxy 2, I guess.
in fucking seven or so years.
Yeah,
since before then.
Yeah,
and I was like, it's back.
It's back.
And
it's here.
I was super happy, and I love that game. It's a great game.
Yeah. So. As a wee lad, when Galaxy came out, I played Galaxy 1, never played Galaxy 2. I remember beating it, feeling like, wow, that game was awesome. And then I played Odyssey when that came out as a Switch, obviously. I love and adore both of those games. I still have never really played 64 outside of the first few levels.
I didn't play it on the 64. I played it. There was like a remake that released for the Nintendo DS.
Oh, okay, yeah. Which not a. I think the Metacritic was like 60 something for that.
I mean, I played it. I beat it.
Sure.
It had fun multiplayer.
Had multiplayer?
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. So I've never played 64 outside of the first few levels. Never played Galaxy 2, and I've never until now played Super Mario Sunshine.
I want to say the fucking remake on DS was the first DS game I ever had. Was the remake because mine
was like. I think mine was 007 Quantum of Solace, the movie tie-in DS game.
Yeah,
was my first DS game.
My uncle just had like the original DS,
right,
with a copy of 64 DS.
Very exciting,
and that's just the first thing I had right there.
So this game, super fucking fun game.
Super Mario Sunshine,
super fucking fun.
Yeah, man,
had a fucking blast from stem to stern playing this game.
Yeah, it's a great game.
Except
a lot of fun.
Except for a few of the gimmick levels, I wasn't too big of a fan of, but. They're short and sweet, and then you move on, and you're done with them.
You didn't even play one of the worst ones.
I'm sure I did.
The Watermelon Festival.
Oh no, I've not played that.
It's Gelato Beach 8.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So we did the main 7 for every world,
yeah.
And then I collected a few extra ones that were hanging around Delfino Plaza.
Yeah.
In terms of the shines. I mean, it's a 3D Mario game, so it plays super fucking well.
Yep.
Lots of fun platforming, jumping around, and so forth. This one, infamously, has the gimmick of FLUDD.
Why is it infamous?
People don't like FLUDD.
FLUDD's great.
People, you like FLUDD. People don't like FLUDD, and it's the same reason when we finished the series, and I said, "Hey, man, this game is still on the bottom of my list for 3D Mario games, but I still really like it." But it's like the black sheep of the franchise. You're like, why is it the black sheep of the franchise? I go, because people just don't like this game as much as they like the other ones. You'd like it more, and that's cool. But culturally, this one is not looked down upon, but not looked on as highly as the other ones. And I think a lot of that is because of Flood, because Flood limits Mario's moveset, and breaks a lot of like regular platforming levels.
It
It's why
expands it.
no, Mario can do a lot more in Galaxy and in Odyssey.
Well, I disagree.
Okay, and I call it a gimmick in the sense of like how the pointer for the Wii is a gimmick in
it's
Galaxy.
so
that one's a terrible gimmick.
That one's bad in Galaxy.
That one's terrible.
Real bad.
Just because it adds nothing to the
Worse
gameplay.
than Flood.
Yeah, but like also not as like detrimental as Flood is to the gameplay, like to the general gameplay. Like you can just ignore the pointer thing for the most part, whereas like Flood is like a core mechanic. And then I like Cappy more than Flood by a whole lot. Again, because it just
Mario.
In Odyssey, Mario has all his like base moves that he has in the other games, and like Cappy adds some extra ones. But I still like Flood. Flood's cool. Flood's a cool little like thing.
Mario. Remember when there was the fake out death at the end? It's like,
with Flood, yeah.
Did we win? Or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Which,
And the Toad's Fixer.
man, I did not. My biggest complaint in quotation marks about this game is its like presentation in the sense of like when there is cutscenes, which there are far and few between. It's really annoying hearing these characters talk the way they do.
Why?
It just bugs me, man. I don't like it. I don't like
You got Charles Martinet, you got the same voice actors playing Peach that's ever played Peach, you got the same voice actor that plays Baby Bowser that's always played Baby Bowser.
My problem is that these characters should not be having full sentence structure conversations.
I mean, Mario never talks.
Exactly. And it's great. You know, that's why
Peach has talked before too.
She's had 2 lines to set you up for Super Mario 64, and then she never speaks again.
She does talk though.
In 64? Where, like the end? So
No.
she's at the very beginning at the end. In this one, she talks in multiple cutscenes. And it's annoying every time. And then Flood's voice is annoying. Bowser Jr.'s voice is annoying. Bowser's voice is terrible.
I'm gonna. Well, I'll agree that Bowser's voice is bad. I'm gonna checkmate you here, Tavin. What is the word for more than one? Multiple.
Several? Multiple?
I would say multiple.
Yeah.
Peach speaks more than once in 64, so you could say there's multiple lines that she has.
All right, fucking
in 64.
I
And
can't
in
stand you.
Sunshine.
This is such a fucking. You're such a fucking.
So
piece of
checkmate,
shit.
checkmate.
You're such a fucking.
Gotcha.
You're so annoying. Anyways, so when there's cutscenes, I don't like it. I would much rather just like skip right past it, ignore it, all of that. The whole Shadow Mario gimmick immediately being given up. Well, not immediately.
It wasn't immediate.
You're not. You're what? Like a quarter of the
I
way
mean, you
through the
don't
game,
even-
and then they reveal who Shadow Mario is.
I mean, so technically it would be, I think you unlock Pinna Park around like the 25th shine. So that's like halfway.
Okay. Yeah, sure. But it's still like, then they keep up the gimmick of Shadow Mario.
Well, it's because you can actually play the worlds in different order. So you actually don't need to go to Pinna Park
Oh, I see what you're
until...
saying. Oh, okay. Yeah,
After.
sure.
So you
and
could-
then,
you-
and then chasing him down every time is annoying. I don't like chasing Shadow Mario down.
Tavin, you're also not the best at the game.
Which you kept saying, but then I watched you do the secret level, and you were failing just as much as me.
I hadn't picked up that controller on that game for...
And I had
months.
never played the game. So there
I'm
you
just
go.
saying. And plus, that wasn't, you didn't even get to see me use Flood really in that one. So
Nah, I don't care about that. But I will say I adore and I love the secret levels. Every single one of them, I was like, man, this is the best. This is just core Mario
like
running
what
around,
everyone says.
jumping. Secret levels are fucking awesome. And then the more general levels are all fun too. That music is great. The acapella main Mario theme, genius. It should be in every game.
Just
I don't know
that
why
one
it
guy.
isn't. Just that one. Just the little. That guy, hilarious. So the minute you brought it up, I couldn't like not hear it anymore.
They're in our right ear.
So yeah, Mario's moveset. I mean, it's solid here, and I do like the slide, but I prefer like I prefer the roll in Odyssey. There's more control with the roll. And then I missed the super jump, and I felt like it was easier to get the triple jump off in the other games, but that's maybe just because I never really caught the feel for what it was, the rhythm for it in this game.
Yeah. I think that's true.
That's probably it. Yeah. And I really just like how the backflip works in this game and what it takes to trigger it. The like running back and then a quick dash.
You go one way, change directions, jump.
Yeah, sure. But that's an easier move to pull off in all the other games because there's a crouch button that you crouch and then press it and he
flips. There's a crouch button.
There isn't though.
There is though.
What button is that?
It's fucking left trigger.
No, that resets your camera.
Well, it's probably
and then left bumper is the map.
Probably set somewhere else.
There's not a crouch button in this game.
Fairly certain there is.
There's not. That's why I kept complaining about the backflip.
There's a ground pound button. It's the same.
Yes.
I want to say there is though.
Yeah, it's the ground pound is left trigger. It resets your camera when you ground pound.
I'm fairly certain.
There's no crouch in this game, Phil. I'm telling you.
No. I'm not gonna keep fighting on the crouch thing, but I'm fairly certain that when you're doing the camera and like you do like the little strafe thing, I'm pretty sure if you jump there, or like if you like jump and then go like if you're going backwards while you jump there, you can backflip.
Maybe never tried that.
Yeah, I know you never tried, but
okay.
I'm pretty sure that's the case.
Okay, well well then I remove that, not a critique, but just remove that personal irk.
That gripe.
Yeah. But yeah, like even though I don't think Flood is Flood probably could have used a little more time in the oven as a concept. They probably.
I will say the port is also it feels better on a GameCube controller.
Yeah,
I'd say overall.
It's crazy because I do not like the GameCube controllers are so old now that it's just like the sticks are loose and the buttons are kind of stiff. And
GameCube controllers are good. It's good.
I really don't like the bumpers on the GameCube controller.
You mean the triggers?
Yeah.
It only has one bumper. It's the Z button.
Yeah, but like the way they're formed, they're practically bumpers.
Oh, they're good. Those are good. For me, I really like it's. I
don't like how much dead space they have on them.
Well, see, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Is in the original release of Sunshine, the way to how to spray different ways is 2 different buttons.
Uh-huh.
On the GameCube, it was the same one, but if you did it lightly,
you
could move around.
Like a little half pull.
If you did like a half pull,
dude,
it would
adaptive triggers way before the PlayStation
Exactly.
5, baby. Let's go.
Exactly. So if you did it lightly while moving, you could walk around and spray. But if you held it down, you'd stay in place and spray. If you like put it,
that'd
all
be a
down.
lot easier to do on a GameCube controller than other things. That reminds me of when PS2 had like pressure sensitive face buttons.
No other controller has that nowadays.
Yeah.
So
anyway.
they had to map it to 2 different buttons.
Just put Sunshine on the PS5. DualSense adaptive triggers fixes all the issues.
Fuck that, dude. You think Nintendo would ever release a Mario game?
Not a chance in hell.
On a non-Nintendo console?
Not a chance in hell. Especially not PlayStation. They got beef. Anyways. Yeah. So I
Kobe beef.
Thoroughly enjoyed this game. This is one of my favorite games that you've shown me on hype. After beating it, I didn't know if I liked it more than Kingdom Hearts 2 or the same. With some time apart, I like this game more than Kingdom Hearts 2. So this right now is my favorite game that you've shown me on hype.
I will say I am slightly disappointed, but I'm happy that you enjoyed it.
Slightly disappointed.
Well, it's my favorite game. Come on, Kingdom Hearts 2.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
But I get it.
But yeah. And then, what else did I want to talk about with this game? Oh, I've forgotten. I've touched on most of the things that I've said. I just really like Kingdom Hearts. I hated it when people talked. Oh, and then the village people or the what are they called?
YMCA.
Oh,
the village people.
Christ.
The Piantas.
The Piantas. Every time they spoke, it was just like, where did you pull this cartoon character out of? Like, and I understand like Mario is cartoony, but like these guys were like from a different like universe. I was like,
I don't remember what the female ones sounded like, but I remember the male ones go.
I think the hotel level was my favorite out of all of them. It's the one I remembered.
Sirena Beach.
The one I pull when I think about it. When I think about the game.
Well,
it's
got the one that we kept trying, like the top down. That's the shell secret.
Secret.
That's not the shell secret. That's the secret of the hotel.
Yeah. Which, if you want to add just
shell secret is in Noki Bay,
a whole new level of difficulty to those secret levels.
Oh, hell yeah!
Like
play top down. We did that. I think that was like in the last
It was the last hour.
hour and a half of our
Yeah,
stream.
something like that.
Because it was the last hour and a half.
Well, did we watch that? Did we watch
It was
that
the last
YouTube
hour.
video after?
Yes, after we did the top down. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
the
well,
YouTube
that
video
video
was-
took an hour.
That's the hour, and then the
Which I
half
think I was
hour
still recording.
The
so
half
I
hour
need to
before
cut that
then.
out.
Oh yeah, you got to take that away from the
Yeah, because
recording.
that's somebody else's
Yes,
stuff.
yes. We were React Andes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But that was a fun little video to watch.
Yeah, it's
Seeing
awesome.
Seeing
It's
the history of the speed run.
it's the speed world record history of Super Mario Sunshine any percent.
By who? What was the creator?
Average Trey.
Average Trey. There we go. So Average Trey, great video. Loved
Fantastic video. I've watched that video multiple times. Same with the 100%.
I was thoroughly enjoyed in watching that video and seeing the history behind speedrunning Sunshine.
He's made 3 different world record history videos about Super Mario Sunshine. He's got the any percent one, the 100% one, or I should say 120 shines because it's not technically 100%. It's basically the 100%, but it's not technically. Mm-hmm. And then he's got the there's like an individual level code, like he touched on it in the video, but like there's a Piantas in Need, that one where you go around and clean off all the Piantas in Pianta Village. I think I can't remember which. I think it's Pianta 5, something like that.
Yeah, I remember this. Yeah, that was a fun level too.
And
I
then
liked that one, too.
because it's got like the in-game timer, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what speedrunners kind of gravitate to.
Whenever a timer pops up.
Yeah. So I think the world record for that is like they do it in like 40 seconds, like
Jesus
less
Christ.
than. Like it's nuts.
I think I took like over a minute and a half or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, so that's some serious.
I think it gives you 3 minutes to do it all, and they do it in like I think the time because it counts down.
Yeah.
You know? So I think it's like a 2:17 is what people end up with.
Wow, that's
It's
crazy.
like 43 seconds.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyways, I liked fighting the giant. What is it called?
Blooper.
Is that it, or the giant?
You're
like,
talking about the squid, right?
not the squid. The thing that was like a shadow on the ground. What is it called? Stingray.
Oh yeah.
The giant
Where
stingray.
you clean up all the gloop in Serena Beach.
Yeah, I liked that one.
There's
I liked,
I think the 8th shine in Serena Beach is like a rematch.
Oh really?
for the Stingray.
Oh okay, that would have been fun to play. But yeah, I don't know if there was any. I didn't care. I didn't love the What was that
It's like
level
a timed rematch though.
What was the level with the like all the boats and stuff? It has the blooper race that like
Rico Harbor.
no yeah, it's got like the big spinning like wheel thing. Yeah,
Rico
and
Harbor,
then
the one with the blooper race.
But yeah. Didn't like that.
The one with red
That was
coins.
one of my least favorite levels in there.
That's a decent one. That's the second one. It's on the lighthouse.
Yeah. Not wasn't my favorite, but other than that, I don't really have too many complaints about any of the levels or level designs. or anything.
Gelato Beach it's a really good level, but like all the tasks you have to do are really boring.
Was one of the first ones or the first one?
That's the third one.
The third one,
Technically, yeah.
Gelato Beach.
That's the one with all the ducks.
Oh
running around.
yeah, and you ground pound the thing and then make the thing come up. Yeah,
It's a really like pretty level.
I liked it fine enough.
But I think it's one where it's the first time you had to race Il Pentissimo. You have to spray the stairs and stuff.
Yeah, which as a character I didn't care for.
I mean, he's
him or
he's
his
a
design.
he's like a joke character.
Yeah.
The joke is
I would have rather them.
he's
just
a
keep
normal
the,
guy disguised as a Pianta.
I would have rather them just keep the Hammer Bro as a race.
The Koopa Troopa?
The Koopa Troopa.
Yeah, it's not a Hammer Bro.
You're right.
Fucking
You're absolutely right. Would have much rather kept the Koopa Troopa as the guy you race. But you know, whatever. I don't know. I feel like this game almost like probably could have used a little more time in development because there are just elements of it that felt a little cheaper than what I saw in 64 and then what other Nintendo games
Tavin,
have.
you've never played 64, so can you really talk?
I've played the opening level.
That's what you said when you said
I
I
opened
played
it
Mario
with-
Sunshine. I played the first level.
I'd say I opened this conversation with I played the opening levels of 64.
Oh, I missed that part.
Yeah, this is what I started the conversation
Then
with.
stop comparing it because you don't know.
All right, fine.
You
enough.
don't know.
Okay. Anyways, Phil, thank you for showing me Super Mario Sunshine.
Yeah, man.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. Had a great time. Any other moments from stream or any other things you want to say about Sunshine in general? That
I think that the first session overall was a lot better because I think comedically, like There was the bit where you kept failing that one level, and I just progressively got lower and lower on the couch.
Sure.
And would I just thought that was a funny moment.
Okay.
I don't know. It was painful at the time, but I think going back and watching it, I think it's a lot more like, because I'm just like, also I'm working on zero sleep at that point.
Yeah.
And I think I hadn't slept in like, I think by the end of the day, it was like 38 hours.
My guy, you got to prep for these streams better.
Dude,
These are long streams.
You need to stop blaming the fact that it's me not preparing.
But sometimes you don't eat, and then you get grumpy.
That's fair. But the reason I hadn't eaten is because I had woken up really late. For this, you're talking about this past one.
Yeah,
that's why.
Yeah, but there's been other streams where you just like wake up and then jump on stream, and then you're like sitting there for 15 minutes, like watching me set up.
I eat something though. I had already eaten.
Anyways, that's beside the point. We're gonna go ahead and wrap this up right here. Super Mario Sunshine, really, really fucking fun, solid game, man. Really great time.
Give me the number score, Tavin.
Oh, that's right, we do this on this one. I'm gonna give it. I'm feeling a low 8.
Okay. Yeah.
Feeling a low 8.
I think for me, it's probably like a high 7, maybe a low 8.
Yeah, I was bouncing somewhere between a high 7, low 8, but I'm leaning closer to a low 8.
Yeah, I agree.
So there you go.
It's very fun. Very fun game.
Fun game.
Fun, happy, good music, good time.
Absolutely. Now, Phil, as you know, we do hype streams every week, Tuesday, 1 p.m., twitch.tv/2pennygames, and that will continue this week with some Mass Effect 1.
Oh.
Phil, you're playing some Mass Effect 1 Legendary Edition.
I like the bit. I'm like, what? No way! Like, no way! And then you say Mass Effect. It's like, oh.
Anyways, and then just for context, for those who don't know, the Legendary Edition just came out. I've been playing it all weekend. You're going to think the Twitch channel is a Mass Effect channel at this rate. We just posted our review for Mass Effect Legendary Edition over at youtube.com/2pennygamescast, but it's also a part of the 2 Penny Gamescast episode 43, which this is a part of, unless you're watching the breakout episode, which comes out on Tuesdays. So if you're listening on Tuesday, we're probably live right now. If you're listening far in the future and just catching up on all the after the hype nonsense, go check out the Mass Effect stuff too.
Tavin took 4 days off of work just to play this fucking game.
I was really excited.
Okay.
I was really excited. I can't have fun?
Well,
let me have fun. Let me take a couple days off.
You know who didn't have fun?
You, but that doesn't matter. Anyways, thank you so much for listening.
It doesn't matter.
Please subscribe, hit the like, drop a comment, get that interactivity up. We love it over here. But until then, have a great rest of your week. And Phil, say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye.